And there we are. Look at that. Brand new.
Brand new, yeah. It's all my fault.
I know, HOULTS, your beard's got long since the last time we saw you.
Yeah, right. That's right.
So it's very beautiful.
I've lost the accent as well.
Sadly, we are without HOULTS. He's not exactly missing in action. He's missing over at his folks having dinner and forgot to tell us. But other than that, it's all good.
That time of the year.
How are you, my friend? Did you have a good Christmas?
I had a bit of like all of us basically being ill for several weeks at Christmas, and we healthy just in time. And now my daughter is sick again, so I mean it's.
Oh no!
But we managed to be healthy during Christmas. That's the important part.
Yeah. Oh, bless you, mate. You're a little bit. But I just think you just need to press reset on the front of your head. And it should be good. I'm showing off our amazing new graphics. Now look at this. It's very, very good. We're using a new system today, ladies and gents. It's not OBS and it's not Melon. It's something called EV Mux. It's brand new, and we will be playing with it as we go. So apologies if it all falls apart. It shouldn't do. It should all work really well. But it's got some stuff going on and what have you. But yes, HOULTS, unfortunately, we found out at the very last minute that he was over at his folks' tonight, which is nice. It's okay. So we're all on holiday, really, aren't we? I've got me new on. Do you see this on air behind me? Do you see that? That my mummy bought me that for Christmas.
Oh nice of her.
Yeah. And then my brother-in-law bought me this, so I'm feeling like a proper Terry Wogan today. I've got me little turtleneck on here and my on-air thing going on over there. So, and you're all going, who the hell is Terry Wogan? But luckily for me, there is one person, one guest today that we've got joining us who knows exactly who Terry Wogan is, because he and I are of a very similar vintage. And I think without further ado, we're going to go over there and welcome our very good guest. We've got more guests to come, so excuse the empty boxes. Look at that. HOULTS is not here.
Last minute edit.
Very good.
I'm very happy I did it.
Very good. Look at this, gentlemen. It's Clive and Ninja Guy.
Yay.
Woo.
Yay.
Welcome, lads.
Get them in.
Happy Betwixtmas, everybody.
Yes. It kind of is a weird thing, isn't it? You don't know what to say.
Betwixtmas. Yeah. I love it.
Why has that gone twice? Was that you?
No, that was not me.
It's on loop mode. There it goes. That's fine. Just the once. Yeah, Betwixtmas. You're right. It's kind of between the one and t'other. Did you guys have a good Christmas? Anyway, how did it go?
Yeah, nice. Pretty laid back.
Nice. Yeah. Very fun too. I had some nice Christmas dinners with both families. So, it was tough and it was really good.
Oh, wow.
I've had no Christmas dinner.
Oh, mate. Yeah. Oh, poor old Clive. What, not even for yourself? You didn't even just knock up a boiled egg or something with a sprig of holly?
Some sprinkles on the top of the egg.
I think I had a sandwich.
Oh, mate. Did you not have the kids over for Christmas this year?
No, they were at their mum's, so I was on my Todd to Christmas Day. But that's cool. I do like it used to be the Queen's speech, but King's speech. I do like me the Christmas Day stream when I'm on my own. It's quite nice. It's quite relaxing.
What was it like? I hear it was quite good. The old King Charles's speech.
I didn't listen to the speech because I was doing my speech. I was doing my stream.
Oh, right.
Live stream. So I do a Christmas live stream if I'm on my Todd. So, yeah.
A new alternative King's
speech.
Yeah, wow. So for those of you that aren't British, and that's quite a few of you actually, we have a thing in our country at Christmas where the ruling monarch, and we have a new one, a shiny new one, does a little kind of 15-minute speech, pre-recorded, pre-written, and I don't know that many people watch them these days, do they, Clive?
They made a movie of it, didn't they?
Oh, what, with Paddington? Oh, the King's speech. They did.
Which was all about...
That's what that movie is about.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I didn't remember that part of it.
It's kicked off the tradition.
Yeah.
It was meant to be a one-off.
Yes.
And he was very reluctant, obviously, because he had a speech impediment, to do it.
Was it the Queen's? Was it the Queen's father?
Yeah, and then when Queen Elizabeth did it, she really sort of started the trend, and it became an annual thing. But it was never meant. It was just meant to be a one-off originally.
Yeah,
Today I learned.
But now, like when we were growing up, I mean, certainly, it was like if you had your nan round or whatever like that, it was everybody quiet. Shh, the Queen's 3. Come on, it's 3:00 on Christmas Day. Like the whole nation, most of the nation, you'd gather around the TV at 3:00. Even the kids didn't want to because you want to play with your toys, but the older folks would be going, "Come on, it's Queen's coming on. It's 3:00.
It's true.
And it used to be a real tradition.
It was. It was a doff capping. Those were doff capping days in those days. Many caps were doffed in support of the ruling monarchy, who had a fairly good run. I mean, they've been kicking it around since 1066 and a few years before.
Now it's on YouTube.
And now they're on YouTube. Actually, talking of modern royals, did you guys watch or have you watched the Harry and Meghan specials on Netflix?
I have, yeah.
I thought they were really good. No, Bjorn's not too fussed about that. I don't think I'm looking at Ninja. I'm not seeing a royalist.
Sadly,
you're going to split. You're going to split the audience there, Rokk. I feel,
the old scholars there.
But yeah, it's a shocking indictment of our press, but nothing we didn't already know, really.
No, I agree. No, it was a shame. It was a real shame, and but they seem nice folk. They seem to be quite happy in their little life and everything. Yeah.
Nice couple.
So nice, relaxing. You guys, did you
actually? So Rokk, men of our age, we should be furious about it.
We are,
and angry.
We are
for kind of completely irrelevant reasons. Be angry. Just be angry and shout in the street and Facebooking uppercase letters.
If you get one of those overly cooked cornflakes, you get angry at our age. Don't you? Nothing worse. You get to the bottom of the bowl.
A burnt cornflake. Dear Kellogg's.
Exactly.
I cannot believe it.
What are you playing at with your overly burnt cornflake? Nothing worse. And you put your porridge in, and there's always...
We do have a similar thing here in Sweden, to be honest. It's more that we... Like, it's tradition around here that if someone, if your neighbor does something, has a party that's a bit too loud, a bit too late, you write an angry note and put it up in the hallway. And I mean, especially the laundry rooms are amazingly filled with angry notes all over the country, and they're usually quite hilarious.
I was saying to Bjorn earlier that I've just all of a sudden, and I don't know whether it's one of those things, the reticular activating system. Have you guys ever heard of the RAS at the back of your brain? It's about the size of a little finger in the back of your brain, and it sort of focuses you on things that you're interested in. So you ignore all of the so many sort of inbound signals, and it focus. But I don't know whether it's because I've just been more conscious of this since knowing Bjorn. But I've just noticed everywhere you go, there's Swedes. There's just like a creative hothouse.
What's that? Isn't that cognitive dissonance? Like it's like you buy a new Mini, and then you're driving around and you go, oh my God, everybody's got
everywhere.
a Mini. Yeah,
everyone's got one.
You just suddenly noticing it.
Yeah.
I forget what it's not cognitive dissonance.
No, but
something
it's,
like that.
You're just cognizant, aren't you?
Yeah.
But it's the reticular activating system. You can Google it. I mean, it's an absolute thing. How are you, demi-goddess? All these lovely folk popping in to say hello. Isn't that lovely? And Bjorn's got his shared screen ready. I just wondered who this guest was, and I realised it was a shared screen. Talking to guests, where are you, Ant? You should be in here, my friend. What's a Stadia, says David. Oh, dear.
He's too young. He didn't live in these days, right?
Too soon.
I remember the days,
Clive, Caseball UK says, did you manage to get the correct version of Death Stranding for GeForce Now?
I did. It just took a couple of goes to register and for GeForce Now to recognise it.
Yeah.
But
same here.
Yeah, I've been walking around. I've been hiking. It feels like I'm hiking in Wales or something. I've been hiking around in Wales, dropping my bloody packages everywhere.
With good music, though. Hiking in Wales with good music.
I was playing, and my daughter overheard some music. And one of our favourite bands in it.
Oh, yeah.
And she suddenly stopped. She was playing Minecraft. I think she suddenly stopped and said, "What's that? The Neighbourhood. It's the Neighbourhood. I love this song." And she started dancing in front of the screen.
That's amazing.
It's got some cool tracks, really cool tracks.
It's a really good. I mean, the music is amazing, but
it's frustrating. I'm always carrying too much.
Yeah, but you got to learn to kind of hold the two buttons on your controller. So
over encumbered the game.
Yeah.
Well, when you got too much, he literally goes really slowly, and it's so frustrating.
I know.
I wish I hadn't packed so much.
But you are enjoying it, though, aren't you?
I kind of am. I can't quite put my finger on it. It feels like it does feel like there's something missing. It feels like an incomplete game. Lots of brilliant ideas, but there just feels like they almost like there was some other things in there that they didn't have time to do or couldn't do, and they took out and thought, well, it'll probably be all right. But it just feels like actually no, they needed something else. But I'm not sure. But I don't know how they managed to get the game to look so good.
It's gorgeous
in a way that other games don't quite. Hit that standard. It's
interestingly, I don't know if you knew this, but they actually use the same engine from Guerrilla that they used for Horizon Zero Dawn. So you've got, if you've ever played here, you know it's a gorgeous game, and a lot of the leaves and all the vegetation and stuff's amazing. I think the thing with Death Stranding, a lot of people bail in the first couple of hours because they literally think the same thing. But if you keep at it, by about midway, it really kicks in. The story really picks up, and it's got a lot more going on. And then it has this amazing payoff at the end. So I definitely recommend playing it. But I don't know about you guys, but I was saying to Mrs. Rokk earlier, so many games, I've become snowblind. I just can't play anything at the moment. It's like, too many games, can't play.
I've certainly, and we'll probably come to it later, but I've certainly enjoyed exploring a wider selection of games, put it that way, and especially with now I'm sort of doing a lot of GeForce Now. Not being a PC gamer, I don't have many PC games, but Epic Store has had some brilliant freebies.
Especially over the last few days.
I've been filling my library up. And having a whale of a time.
I mean, I've realized. I've been claiming free games on Epic Games for since 2021 or 2020, I think even. But I never really went down and actually added them to GeForce Now because they don't have the automatic library sync yet.
Yeah.
And I did that the other day, and I think I added 100 games. I think 112 games from Epic, and before that,
did you see that synchronized drinking there? That was something.
Yeah,
that was impressive. That was good. You guys should be out there in the swimming pool doing stuff together.
Well, now male synchronized swimming is now. I think it's going to be at the next Olympics. So I'm sure I've read something like that. Yeah, it's like it's been recognised now as a.
I mean, you do have a kind of a svelte-like version.
You mean I've got my built-in swimming?
Duncan Goodhue. Yeah.
I just need to shave off my eyebrows, and then
yes, he did do. He was, and a moment's silence as well for poor old Pele.
Oh legend.
Who left us today just before 2023? Bless him. He was a legend. Of course, we kind of knew he wasn't in a great place, didn't we? His family been around the bed for a bit and stuff.
It's always around Christmas, isn't it? There's always legends.
Yes.
I mean, maybe it's this kind of conscious dissonance. I don't know, but. It always seems either just before Christmas, during Christmas, absolute legends of Hollywood, legends of sport, whatever, pass away. It's just
it is true, and I think because certainly the week between Christmas and New Year, you have that whole retrospective, and and here's all the Hollywood greats that died.
Yeah.
I didn't realise he died. I loved him, Willy Wonka, and all that stuff. And I suppose in a way you are kind of more aware of folk passing, aren't you? This time, of
You're,
year?
you're turning into like a movie granddad. You know, you
Yeah.
should watch movies with your family at Christmas.
He's dead.
And then he's dead. That's it. She's dead.
I do it all the
He's
time.
not around it. He's
Fucking
dead.
all of us fucking dead at this point.
Oh, you know, you can't. I was watching Dad's Army movie the other night.
Oh, my God.
I was like, every single person in this movie, not one of them is alive.
Yeah,
I think
we're getting
even
old, guys.
even
Pike.
Poetry's dead now,
Pike.
isn't he? Yep. Don't tell him your name, Pike. Classic stuff. Classic stuff.
Guys, I figure we should do some housekeeping. What do you think?
Yes, let's do some housekeeping. I've got the clean and Kleenex.
There we go.
Have you got the brushes?
I've been housekeeping all week.
Just wanted to mention, as we always do, the current giveaways happening over at
Oh,
Rokk.
that's weirdly. I thought I'd got rid of that Christmas one.
It's just ended on the top here, but it's.
No, I thought I'd
it's
or maybe I
listed.
didn't save it. I did make the change.
Yeah,
That's
so that one
annoying.
is ended, but we do have some other giveaways going on.
Yeah.
For Spoken and GeForce Now 3080 tier, ending on January 24th, so plenty of time to get in there, about a month.
Oh yes, yeah, we
Hogwarts
do.
Legacy.
Yep,
February
February. And actually, because all members on a Friday get entered into the members only draw, and I've got I'm not sure what I'm going to give the members tomorrow. It'll be a bundle pack. I think Clive, didn't you win it last week?
I've won. Yeah, I've won a couple, I think.
Yeah, you've done very well.
So well worth being a member of Rock's channel because
It is.
I've
Well,
won two
Mate,
prizes. You know,
It is. Oh, thank you so much, Michael. Appreciate that, my friend. Thank you so much, dude. Well, it actually is tomorrow, guys, because if you're, there's like a low level tier in my membership. This is all very me, but there is. And then when you're in all the others above, and I was amazed to see that 80% of all my members are actually above that bottom tier. I thought it was.
Wow.
I thought it would be the other way around. They are all going into a very special draw every month, and tomorrow they've got a choice between Plague Tale Requiem, Warhammer 40,000k Dark Tide, or Battlefield 2042.
Wow, all amazing games. Wow.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So every month they're going to have a super giveaway for once a month for the top tier players, all the members that are one up from from the bottom level, and then every Friday all members get something anyway, or at least go into a draw to win something. And then also I'm going to be bringing back, although it's no longer 30 Days of Christmas, I'm going to be bringing back the daily giveaways as well after Christmas for 3 days of the week. So I only stream for 4 days, Tuesday being, of course, Rock Show. So Monday and Wednesday and Thursday, I'll be doing a daily, and then on the Friday, it'll be members only, and then once a month, the big super prize for members only. And it's very complicated, but it's worth it for a cup of Costa.
magic.
Clarence has got his wings, good lad.
Yeah.
See, I missed seeing that film this year. Nobody wanted to watch it. I love a bit of. Yeah, no, I didn't. Toot Susu's Petals. They wanted to watch the Polar Express, which I've seen more times than Father Christmas. Well, still very good, mind you. But there you go.
Yeah.
Where's Ant then? I thought he was in the chat just now, isn't he?
Yeah,
supposed to
I
be?
saw him. But maybe he's getting into the car or something.
Yeah, of course, yes.
He'll join when he
The way
joins.
him,
Yeah.
he's probably in the car streaming, and things like that.
Traveling
We'll
at-
see him in the park.
Oh, Hamberly just asked me, sorry. Hamberly, how are you, my friend? Hamberly just said, can I see your new mouse pad? Now, just to prove, Hamberly, there it is. And it's all lit up. And I can change the
Fancy.
colour. Now, the reason Hamberly's asked me that is because he gave me this for Christmas. Woohoo!
Oh.
Here he is.
Oh,
Look
nice.
at that. Yeah, there you go, mate. So just to prove I have got it running, look, it's there. And it's tucked down under here. So thank you very much for that. I hope you're having a good week. And looking forward to your New Year's. There you go. Thank you
And I
very
mean,
much.
since we're on the topic of answering message from chat, you have the question here from Jem. Planning on bringing back
Cloudburst. Yeah, Cloudburst was a favourite. It was a bit of a crowd favourite, that one. I may well do, actually, Jem. I'm having a look in the new year at adding more content, and I think it might be time to bring it back. Yeah, and there's a few new folk around. Of course, at that when we did it originally, and Clive was always involved with it as well. We were still very much in Stadia mode. So what tended to happen was we'd all meet to talk about cloud gaming, and invariably it ended up just being a big old chat about Stadia. So I think now we've sort of moved on a bit.
Oddly enough, I think Stadia made it quite polemic as well, which I think now with Stadia, for various reasons, with the Stadia not being a thing, I think it would be less polemic and slightly more interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. So I think maybe something for the spring. Let's move on beyond Stadia. Just get past the 18th, and clear the decks a bit, and then maybe look at that. But thank you, Jem. Particularly if you could join us, it'd be great to have you as a regular on there as well with your amazing gaming knowledge. That would be very good. Oh, look, Ant says I'm here, but it's only 3:28 my time. I don't get out of work till 4:30. Yeah, don't know if you guys realise, but Ant's actually a male pole dancer. So he's probably just sweeping up the dollar bills from the stage as we speak, and the ones that have fallen out of his Speedos, popping them in his man bag and heading off to wipe himself down from all the Vaseline that just shiny skin in the lights as he does.
Yeah.
Baby oil.
Taking care of the last minute clients there before he leaves. So
Yeah.
It's highly possible. Oh dear. Should we?
Let's get started.
I know you're the host. I should shut up and let you get on with the job.
Yeah. No, it's fine. So, first of all, we obviously had. Hang on. Can I get that? Oh, I need to switch and then switch back to get that. There we go. No.
Why is he reminding us?
I'm trying to get.
I know, it's upsetting me.
Name. But yeah. Anyway, Stadia had a year. Let's just put it there. I mean, they started out going all in on trials and did that throughout up until the closing. I think we get like 100 trials during 2022. They added the announced and last year they announced the fast forwarding tools. We got to see them in action this year. We get this new store UI. Some developers like Broken Arm Games who made 100 Days came out and said that they made some good cash through Stadia. And I think in total I counted 56 new games added to the platform during the year. And they even had new regions coming soon. And then the shutdown happened, which, I mean, you were live when that happened.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it was. Yeah, absolutely.
Guys, what's the Stadia highlights of 2022 for you?
Clive show. That's it.
Yeah, that was my highlight, my show. What?
Yeah. Well, no, to be fair, there was the community.
Yeah.
I mean, we can stay there. We don't have to keep coming back. But the community.
My biggest watch Stadia show was the demise of Stadia, ironically.
Mine too.
It's like the burning of Rome or something like that.
Yeah. What about you? What it was like for me when I was there chattering away, and then hello, what's
sending
this?
You the messages, yeah.
It can't be true. Yeah. But I think the community, and although there's still a lot of those guys are still around, and most of them have kind of moved on to some aren't gaming at all anymore. Some have gone to Xbox. Others are still in the cloud. But it definitely, we always knew it would fragment. But it's a shame, and I think that was for me. The community that we had built, and I'm talking about all of us in this space today, and a lot of the guys that are watching as well. But the community that we built for me was probably one of the best things that came from it. And the content that Clive did every week, and the stuff that Ninja did with John, and and most of us didn't really have much going. I did nothing before Stadia existed. Clive, you'd been around for about 2 or 3 years before, hadn't you, doing sort of your first looks and your tech stuff and your food stuff and what have you.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I mean, I think that was the real fun. The fun thing was the community. And part of that was forged by the excitement of something new, and then forged by the need to be slightly defensive. And that's like, the corralling of the wagons to a certain degree, which kind of, I think, reinforced that sense of community in a kind of weird way. that you don't necessarily see with other platforms. I mean, there's people who enjoy other platforms, but that community was like really tight. And I think it was, as I say, it was forged by, ironically, the sort of negativity and all that kind of stuff that around it, but also like a kind of passion for this tech and wanting this tech to succeed and to talk about it and share that passion for it. And it was exciting. It was fun, and that's what made it, I guess that's what kind of made it unique. It was different from other sort of gaming experiences. But oddly enough, whilst I think is good, because we were in our own, well, certainly for me, so I'm talking personally, that, in a way I was quite happy in my lane. I was quite happy in my field. I wasn't that bothered about exploring other fields. Why should I? Because I was happy where I was. The closure of Stadia, actually, the last couple of months, is I think I've enjoyed my gaming even more, because it's been about, and this is going to sound maybe to some people slightly hypocritical, because it's been about the gaming and being forced to explore other avenues. Not to say that, I was quite happy not exploring other avenues in a kind of weird way. I didn't feel like I had to. And that's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just, I was quite happy in my lane. But then being forced to explore other avenues, I've quite enjoyed broadening my horizons, going back to Xbox and catching up in a way with a lot of the stuff on Games Pass and stuff like that. But then also, really discovering the power of, GeForce Now 3080 tier, and really and enjoying some kind of top tier games, using that has kind of made it helped me in a way get over. It's like, get over my ex-girlfriend really quickly. It's like, I've got a better girlfriend. Do you know what I mean? It was like, for me, it was like, it was done. As soon as they announced it, for me, I thought, right, fuck, no good crying over spilt milk. It's done. It's done. We can't do anything about it. We can't go to Google, please. Oh, can you please keep it open just for me? No, it's done. Right? They made a decision. Done. Over. So it's like, well, what am I going to do next? Let's explore. And it helped me, refocus and just put my attention in other places. And it wasn't because I had to, or I was making do, or it felt secondhand. Because I was an opportunity to play, really good games that I'd sort of just put to one side for a while. I mean, playing, A Plague's Tale Requiem on, Xbox Game Pass, whatever, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah,
one of my favorite games, up there with Red Dead Redemption. It was 2. It was so. It's ironically, the closure of Stadia has kind of given me a new lust for gaming, as it were, in a weird kind of perverted way.
No, totally agree. I mean, I think without a shadow of a doubt, when the difference between when my content, when Stadia ended, or at least when they announced it was ending, and the fact that literally over the weekend, and we all had to do the same thing. What do we do now? We've been 100% Stadia. We still love the platform and we're passionate about the community, but if we're going to keep doing stuff, we've got to do stuff. And the difference between my channel then and my channel now, for me, is night and day. For me, I feel much happier about my output now. And the fact that we're not so constrained, and that we can actually cover, I've even got to a point where I talk about next gen and cloud gaming. So it's, I see them all as kind of in a similar bucket. So I think that's been useful, but that's about us. It's, what we're talking about here is what do we, what do we feel were our highlights of Stadia? And I think, Bjorn, what you were saying, it felt, the weirdest thing was that right up to the very end, and this is why I was adamant it wasn't going anywhere, it literally felt like it had never been so together than at the point when it ended.
That's the great irony, isn't it? I mean, you had, that in March, they're now at GDC, they announced all these changes, the free, the demos, the trials, new porting and all that kind of stuff. The trials started coming, and then like 1 week, here's 10 trials. Here's 20 trials, 30 trials, and then before you know it, within like 100 free trials. It was like, wow, they've acted on what they said they were going to do. And then the announcement of FIFA, 23 was like, for me, was like massive. I thought, because for me that was the benchmark in the year. I thought I'm sure logic tells me that it makes too much money for FIFA. That of all the games, it's worth it for EA. It's worth it for Stadia. That's going to happen. Yeah. And it happened. And for me, that was like, wow, vindication in a way. Everything I'd said, all the runes, everything I'd been looking at, like, definitely. And then, expansion to Mexico, I just thought, wow, they are, okay, look, we know they're slowly building.
More countries as well.
And there was rumored to be Turkey, exactly. And then by that time as well, I'd kind of built up a few insiders, so it was like just to help me kind of sense check what I was saying. On off the record and stuff like that. And so like, absolutely, I was 100%, positive. The only doubt I had was when, in the summer, when it announced that, Google announced that they were looking at maybe making some reductions in the headcount, and I just thought that is when department sections, sort of a company that aren't performing to the level of expected are at risk. And I just thought if we can get through this.
Yeah. If we get to the end of the year,
if I thought, well, oddly enough, I thought they'd get through to October, because that was when the sort of rationalization of Google was going to take place over sort of August, September, and then it would be done by October. If we could get through to October, and Stadia survived that as the culling, as it were, that was going on in Google and across, as we now know, across all the tech,
Amazon,
all the major tech, Amazon, Facebook, everybody. If we could get through that,
everyone but Microsoft, I think.
Yeah, if they could survive that, then we're definitely they're in a good place.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it felt like the big break was just around the corner. Like the public discourse was starting to slowly changing. People are more positive about it in general, and like it feels to me like that Mexico launch, that possibly like maybe 1 or 2 countries more happening like before today, essentially. So like up until this point, like it feels like we could have gone into 2023 with Stadia being massive, but we didn't. But yeah.
The great irony was
he's going to say the same thing.
Some big tech, tech commentators who, once you'd killed the unicorn, said, "Oh,
they chilled out.
that unicorn was great, wasn't it?"
Yeah.
And you just think, you killed the unicorn to a certain degree. Do you know what I mean? Don't kill the last unicorn. Yeah. That what's really got me. You had all these people, all these like The Verge and everybody, and okay, they'd sort of sometimes they'd be positive, but even ones that hadn't been positive to Stadia went, actually, I'm going to miss Stadia. It's really good, isn't it? It was really good, and you just think, yes, it was, and it didn't help that you didn't, you swayed towards the kind of, oh, I'm a gamer and I don't believe in cloud gaming kind of side of things. And you didn't embrace it and accept it for all its flaws, this wonderful tech. And then when you kill the unicorn, you wondered, oh, where's that wonderful unicorn gone? Well, you killed it, didn't you? That's the way life works sometimes. Consider what you say and do, and don't regret it later.
What was also interesting, I think, and it's weird that it didn't happen before Stadia announced that they were closing down, was you suddenly had a real shark fest of all of the other players wanting to grapple for the audience that Stadia was giving up. So, Boostroy was out there with discounts, and Black Nut was out there with discounts, and GeForce Now were pushing really hard on building their ambassador program and, giving out trials and stuff. And you think, why weren't they doing that when Stadia was still around? It kind of took almost that impetus of a failure for them to think, actually, here's opportunity, or if we don't do something, we could go down the same road.
I do think that the people who embraced Stadia were maybe ahead of our time. We were ahead of the mainstream market,
we were.
And I think what Stadia proved is that, look, we know the tech worked. There's no question about it. Even the detractors now say, actually, it's pretty amazing tech, wasn't it? But the market wasn't ready. That's been proved. And look, could Google have handled it better? Of course they could. But would it still have made the difference? Would it sort of got across the Rubicon in terms of where it needed to be? I don't think so. And I think what concerns me slightly in terms of cloud gaming is that it will, especially with Xbox, it will continue to be subservient to the main thing, like an extra, a nice to have, like a side salad to the main gaming experience. Yeah. Whereas what Google were trying to do is saying, no, this is your main dish. And I think from now on, now Stadia's gone, and it's proved that people aren't ready for that dish. They're ready. It's too much for me. I don't mind dipping in and having a side dish now and then, but not as my whole thing. I think it's sort of, at one side, arguably the tech is pushed. It's proved the tech works, but it hasn't proved the business model or the appetite for full on, cloud gaming.
I feel at the same time
on mass market.
Close.
Yeah. But I think it's set it back slightly because it's proved that the mass market's not there.
So that's the thing, right? So Google Stadia, I had a really cool thing going where you could purchase game on the cloud and everything was working well. But now that they're gone, and it was one of the biggest company, it's going to be really hard for any other company to start up something like that because they're going to look back into this type of business plan, right? A business process, and they're going to it's going to be really hard to push that back, and it's really unfortunate because it's exactly what I really liked in cloud gaming compared to everything else. We could treat it as an actual platform. And that's what saddens me is that there's no other options, and that we're not going to see it in the near future just because of the reputation that we've got from Stadia closing.
Yeah.
It's still gutting, isn't it? I mean, whichever way you look at it, because it's not like we were all pretending it was good because we were all a bit proud, and actually secretly we thought it was pants. I mean, it was freaking good.
It was good. It was good.
And I mean, it also has the effect that, personally, my son quite recently, I think, after the closure, started getting into FIFA. Really asking me quite at least once a week. It's like, hey, can we play a game of FIFA? He's never done that in the past. And come the 18th of January, I don't have a way to play FIFA anymore. I'll have to buy an old version, like 2019, and put that on my original PS4 because that's the only way I can play it. Because it's not all in the cloud. Baldur's Gate 3, I have no way of playing until they release on some other cloud platform.
The closure came at the right time because I was on the verge of ready to buy FIFA 23 for my son on Stadia, and then as soon as they announced it, I thought, all right, well there you go, you get it, buy it on Xbox. That's what I did in the end. What I see. Demigoddess of Gaming says there that Stadia was fabulous and seamless, and that was the thing. Is whilst there are better games, arguably the 3080 tier, on GeForce Now is probably it is technically better because you can play 120 frames per second and stuff like that, but it's a bit fiddly sometimes, although they are improving that transition, getting into the games, because it's not, the thing is that Stadia was a self-contained console in the sky, and it just worked, and it was that seamless aspect of it and the tech working that made it kind of unique and special.
Yeah, and we had, I mean, going back to, I'm just looking at your show notes, Bjorn, and your question there, Stadia highlights, and I can't get away from the community stuff. I mean, we were doing all of these charity events, and, supporting each other, and Cowboy with Ghosts set up the I can't even remember what they're called now, but the community of Stadia guys that would all share. You have like a domino of different Stadia.
Oh, the Stadia Bash community, right?
Right, exactly, yeah. And all that kind of stuff. And yet, if I am going to be negative, I think the sad thing for me is having experienced people like Boostroid, Blacknut, and GeForce Now, and to a degree Luna, even though obviously at this moment in time they don't necessarily want to play with anybody outside the States, but seeing how they've interacted with people that support them versus how Stadia actually interacted with us, who arguably were out there banging the drum day in, day out. That for me is still the thing that I'm the most negative about, and I'm not the first to say it. I know there were one or two at the very, very top of the community that they were involved with, but in the main, for most of us, we never heard from them from one day to the next, and that I think is a shame. But I think that's just indicative of Google as a company versus any kind of real policy they had to be standoffish.
You think about the Winter Championship and the Summer Championship, the Ninja Guy and everybody kind of involved in and stuff like that. I mean, they were. You don't see like an Xbox Championship, organized by the community in that kind of level, or GeForce Now, and it was things like that were really cool. And you're absolutely right. Like I my interaction with GeForce Now, they're on it. Mm-hmm. They're on it. They make ironically enough, what I liked about Stadia, in fact, it was the lack of communication of Stadia, which made, like when I was doing the Stadia Monday Night Chat, it made it quite fun because you had to go out and find the information, and there was almost a race to who can find that bit of information, go that extra mile, who can distinguish between rumor and fact. I'll help you out there. Not very many people, so it was just doing that research. I felt like a journalist to a certain degree, actually a proper journalist, not a journalist copying something off, somebody already written, like going out, finding information, researching a bit more, writing the show. And it was blooming hard work every Monday, but there was always stuff I discovered, I always found. And it was great experience sharing that.
Yeah,
when you compare that with
reading the APK breakdowns. That was always fun.
Exactly. And it was like a discovery. But then when you compare it to GeForce Now, the community, they provide it all on the plate. Which is really handy. Mm-hmm. Not only that, they provide it on a plate 24 hours before it's officially announced. Gives you plenty of time to, if you want to do like I've been trying to do, is like, here's your news in a kind of short containment, to edit a video, put it all together, package it all nicely, and get ready to, for it to schedule for when the it's available to go out the next day. So whilst that's really, really helpful in terms of content creation, it sort of takes a bit of the fun of the research bit of fun away. Although the making the videos is fun, the research bit is sort of, you're not getting that, but it's really good.
It's something weird, right, that we don't see in other communities, because GeForce Now, if we could do the same thing that we did, like we could dissect the GeForce Now application, right, and see if there's any new code in it and all of that, and look into some sources and stuff like that. But it's not happening for some reason. It's not.
I don't think any other platform really has that same passion in the community that Stadia did have. No. Even if you go into the subreddit for the Xbox subreddit in general, or the PlayStation subreddit, there is nothing like that happening over there.
What about Switch? Don't they have? Doesn't the Switch have that kind of a community? No,
not to that extent.
No, but is that scale? It may have had when it started.
interestingly enough, I think the only time I've seen that in the past has been when Android was still kinda new. Like the early days of like websites like Android Police, for example, when they did the APK breakdowns of like, oh, the new Android Market app, we're seeing references to something called the Play Store in here, and everyone like started.
What about What about Steam Deck?
I think the difference is that difference is that a lot of people that was into Stadia was a lot into tech, right? People who was into PlayStation and all of that are gamers, and they're not really into like technology. They just want to play games. So exactly, Clive, like you said, the Steam Deck kind of like is a technology thing, and people likes to dissect it. So I think that's one of the part where Stadia was.
Because I saw an interesting comment on Twitter about Steam Deck, and you know, in our bubble, like because we're into technology, it seems like everybody's got a Steam Deck, but actually, it's not sold that many. But we think it has. Yeah. Like when you compare it to other gaming devices, but like it's because if you're in a sort of a tech bubble, I'm not interested in Steam Deck, but obviously the same sort of people, you know, that I follow and follow, you know, are, you know, and but it never crossed my mind. Actually, it's like because I'm in that bubble, I see a lot more about it than perhaps. So it's slightly over amplified in my world, when actually the reality is it's maybe not that big, which made me think that actually it's that small concentrated community that you maybe, because I'm not in that community for 100%, I don't know, but I get a sense that maybe that might be similar to the Stadia kind of community in the same way that Ninja says, because it's about tech. And it's a small, concentrated community rather than a slightly thinly spread mass market community.
Could well be. I bought one, but I sent it back. There's nothing wrong with it. It was a lovely piece of kit, but I just realised I'm not into small screens and mobile stuff.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, for me, same here. I play on a big PC screen here or on my big TV. That's my kind of gaming. Yeah,
that's it. And I think that actually, if anything, defined your typical Stadia player. And I know there was a big thing about the fact that you could play it on all sorts of devices. And I know there was certainly guys that loved the fact they could play it on a mobile device. But I still think it was the casual TV and occasional computer in the corner.
Gave you that console experience.
Yeah.
Without having a console, which is like appealed and brought some people in the chat have said, brought them back into gaming, you know, because, I don't need a gaming PC. I don't need the latest console. You know, and yet I can have that experience. And I mean,
I'm not in a position where I'm able to really upgrade my local hardware at the moment. So, like, without cloud, I don't really have a way to play anything except 10-year-old games. So for me, I mean, I'm glad there are other options. And I mean, I always had Stadia was my main platform. Then I had GeForce Now as the to fill out the all the like PC only type of games like City Skylines and stuff like that that I always loved. But I rarely used it because due to the simplicity of it all, I usually just sat down in front of the couch playing on Stadia. But nowadays I've moved more and more over to playing on the PC using GeForce Now instead, and then having xCloud for mobile, and then having both of them for whenever I sit down in front of the television, which isn't that often anymore.
So GeForce Now got some big announcements coming up next week.
Yeah, 3rd of January.
It'll be interesting to see.
And I suppose we'll get into that when we start talking about GeForce Now later. But let's just before we do, let's just go around the table. Ninja, favorite moment, favorite highlight of Stadia for you in 2022?
A Stadia? Oh man, you know what? I can't think of I mean, I'm gonna say the Mexico expansion announcement was very exciting because to me it was telling me that Stadia was expanding. It was not closing. It was giving us like a very, very big, finally a big stretch to show us that Stadia was advancing and growing, right? So I think that was like my favorite moment. It just opened a lot of doors, and it just meant a lot of things whenever we heard about that. So I think that's my moment of 2022.
Yeah. Clive, what about you?
Yeah, I think it's up between the Mexico or FIFA announcement for me. Yeah.
Interesting.
And you, Rokk?
I think for me, I think for me, it's the fact that I hadn't ever. I mean, I'd toyed in my mind about doing content in the past, but I'd always felt like there was nothing that I had any kind of niche within that I could bring any value to. And so when this started up from scratch, I thought, actually, this is something where I could maybe have a go. So for me, if anything, it's the fact that it gave me the start to do this stuff. And then, you know, when I did the stuff with Wingy and Morph and Raf, and then, you know, stuff with Duncan and Clive and so on, and, you know, just stretching my wings and trying new things and meeting new people and learning a craft. So in many ways, Stadia itself was parallel with doing this, and that's been the thing that I will always take. It'll always be the massive takeaway for me. I mean, you know, yes, of course the games, yes, of course the trials, yes, of course the tech and all that stuff. But personal to me, it's this opening that it gave me, and the confidence that it's given me as well, which has spread into other, you know, fields of my existence.
But what I think the question is, what of 2022?
Nothing.
Right.
Yeah, good point. 22. I'd forgotten we were talking about this.
Yeah.
No, that's it. I am getting old. I think the trials, to be honest, because I think seeing them rolling them out every single week, you know, every month there was another chunk of games, and my feeling was they were getting to a point where you could trial every single game on the platform, which would have made it, you know, just an unbelievable force to be reckoned with. But there you go, and it ended. And so therefore, I suppose the biggest impact has to be that moment when I was streaming, bringing it all the way back to me again, and they decided to almost like they were playing a little joke on me, decided to kill it off. But yeah. I survived.
And as for myself, I think mine was probably the City Skylines release, because that indicated that more of my favorite type of game was coming to the platform, and probably would have if they would have stuck around, but it didn't happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, and obviously there are more platforms to talk about, so let's quickly move over to GeForce Now. GeForce Now had when I was prepping the show notes, I skimmed through all the NVIDIA official blog posts for the year. They've had a massive year. I mean, they brought 4K to first in the beginning of the year to the latest model of the Samsung TVs, and then later I think didn't they also bring it to the LG TVs, I think, and then also the 2021 Samsung TVs. I think I estimated, rough count, around 300 new games added to at least to the platform. Fortnite came back to mobile using GeForce Now, but also xCloud. Genshin Impact, they got that on with touch support. They added touch support to even more games. New regions, including South Africa, being announced. I think they probably released some as well that I didn't really manage to keep track of.
Australia.
I think Australia was this year. Yeah. EA titles like the 2021 Game of the Year It Takes Two was added. Support for touch controls, as I mentioned, both hybrid overlays and also direct touch. So yeah, they had a great year. Favorite moments of GFN this year for you guys is next up. What do you feel?
Who Clive, what's your favourite moment for GeForce Now?
I was just checking when the 3080 tier was launched. Was that this year?
Yeah.
Was it this year?
Yeah.
I thought it was last year. I didn't add it to the list. Yeah, that's obviously the big one then.
I'm just checking because
check it because I'm not 100% sure. To be honest,
it might have been last year, but yeah, it's a big year nonetheless. But while you're checking that,
October 28th, 2021.
21.
So just missed it.
Almost.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've had some big releases.
So obviously, you know, I tried GeForce Now when in its pilot stage, and then initially in its public launch as well. And it was like, you know, not being a PC gamer, I've always said, you know, I'm a console gamer. It works. You know what I mean? I don't fiddle about with fucking settings and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I just want to pick up my controller. I don't play keyboard and mouse. I just want to pick up my controller, press a button, and I'm off. And I know the game works, and that's I'm interested in. So I sort of toyed with it, but it was again the frustration of logging into Steam and then I'm on an Epic account and then all that kind of stuff that kind of made it not feel like that seamless console experience. Then being forced to go back into it and then having the opportunity to play 3080 tier, to me, the difference is night and day. Is in terms of they've really worked on that, not having to log back into your Steam account or your Epic account. And take that extra sort of level of access, barrier away, make it slightly easier. I fired up, Death Stranding for the first time on my TV, on my LG, through the app on the LG, thinking, I'm going to have to sign in, aren't I? Because I haven't signed in on the TV version before. I've only been playing Death Stranding on my PC, but no, it went straight into it, and I just thought, yeah, okay. And I've noticed that, and talking to the GeForce Now, they've said that they've really worked on that, and one of the things they work on as well is preloading the game, so that while you're logging in, if you have to log in, that the game itself is preloading. So just little things like that to make it, even though that they will openly say they just want people to play PC games. That's what it's, whether it's in the cloud or whether you go, I'm going to build my own PC and you go off. They don't care. So the fact that they do make that effort and they listen to people to make that kind of seamless experience with GeForce Now, so that you're not having to log in all the time and stuff like that. For me, they've really improved that, and for a non-PC gamer like me, that's a real bonus. And that was what put me off GeForce Now previously. The free tier is pointless to me, having to wait around for a rig or anything like that, or limited gameplay. Not interested in that. But the paid version, and especially the 3080 tier, and the seamlessness, the fact they're trying to make it more seamless in terms of logging into a game, I think is a sort of a big improvement and a real boon for me.
Yeah, amazing. Ninja, you're a GeForce Now ambassador, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. And man, Clive, you really, really nailed it. Just what you said, it's amazing. Like just the way that they made it seamlessly. It was such an issue back then, and it's crazy. But yeah, no, I am an ambassador now. Thank you for welcoming me so warmly, Rokk, as an ambassador. Just
you're spoiling us, ambassador.
Yes, you called me King Ninja.
Barreau Rocher.
Yeah, but anyway, no, it's fun. I guess my favorite moment is going to be a little bit, more like of a personal note on myself. But my favorite moment is when they got Star Ocean, Divine Force on the platform, because this means that they have kind of like a connection with Square Enix, and Square Enix is one of my favorite companies out there. So if that happens and if it goes well, if we could see like cool games like Final Fantasy, the games, Kingdom Hearts, and all of these series in there, it would be amazing. But to me, this was a great moment because it just opens door, and I hope that they continue that integration.
They are at this moment in time. I think they're peerless, particularly the 3080. I mean, it's just an unbelievable. I fire it up pretty much every day, and sometimes I'll play a PC game from my PC through Steam Link or through Moonlight on my TV, and I cannot see the difference. I mean, it is just unbelievable quality, and I think there are others that are nipping at its heels, but I think, like Clive said, they are putting some very active development into the platform, and I think one of the big things just recently is the fact that it now pairs completely with your Ubisoft account, so you don't you automatically all the games that you own or if you have a Ubisoft Plus account are in your library, and soon that will be the same for Steam and Epic. So you won't have to go in and add them. They will just be there. You will go in and there will be your library of your, 300 Steam games and your 100 Epic games, and you won't have to keep logging in because they'll just be there. It's going to go that way.
Shout out to Ubisoft, though,
Yeah,
for making Stadia games available as PC games. So if you'd bought Ubisoft games on Stadia in your Stadia and they're in your Ubisoft Connect library, they're now available to you as a PC game. Like, they didn't have to do that.
No, but they did anyway.
But they did. And to think that you got refunded for your
you got the money
Ubisoft
back,
games,
and then you got the game for free anyway.
and then you got the game for
amazing.
like when you think it like that, you just think you just like. I mean, I didn't buy that. I'd forgotten how many Ubisoft games I bought. If I was honest, I didn't think I'd bought that many. Like little random things like Monopoly or Uno or whatever, But there was some other bigger games, Black Flag and stuff. But because I had Ubisoft Plus, I didn't really bother buying that many games. But I know some people did, especially in the sales. But buy loads of Ubisoft games.
Yeah,
I mean,
before
that now
Ubisoft
they're
Plus
available.
released, I think I bought like 20 Ubisoft games on Stadia.
Yeah, I think you
now
all got
I have
refunded.
Ubisoft Plus though, so
Yeah.
now I own them, but I also own them through Plus. So I don't know what happened there, but so I didn't really notice because I already had everything on there.
But it was.
yeah.
I think it was pretty impressive of Ubisoft.
Very impressive.
for Stadia. Ex-Stadia players.
Yeah.
And also just the fact that Far Cry 6 has ray tracing. Like all of these games run amazingly.
I'd forgotten I'd bought like Division 2, which was one of the best ported games on Stadia back in the day. So this was obviously, and this was pre-Ubisoft, Plus days. So I bought Division 2, but firing it up, suddenly realizing, wait a minute, that's now available to me as PC version, and it's available on GeForce to play via GeForce Now on 3080 tier. It looks absolutely brilliant. It looks amazing.
Yeah.
So that was a real pleasure.
Yeah, and as Rudix points out, shout out to Bungie for doing something similar with Silver, the premium counters that you bought. You get to keep it, and you also got a refund as well. So
That's cool.
shout out to that as well. And I think the Ember devs had a campaign for a while where they were saying like, send us a screenshot of the receipt that you got on your email, and we'll give you a Steam key. So there were a couple of others doing the same. So massive kudos for doing that for all of them.
Particularly as all of them were caught in the same spotlight that we were.
Yeah.
None of them had any, well, as far as we're aware, most of them at least didn't have any precognition that we were about to lose the platform. And so they've had to be, moved fast on their feet to put in solutions that people could get their saves and move them to PC and stuff. No, that's been amazing. But yeah, massive fan of GeForce Now. Not just because I'm an ambassador.
I was a fan even before that. I signed up for the priority tier back when it was called the Founders tier, and it was even cheaper. And
I still have my Founders membership.
Yeah, same here. Like I still pay for my Founders account. I do have the ambassador account as well, but it was like, but I don't want to lose the Founders prize in case I'm for some reason would ever stop being an ambassador. Then, and also now I have two accounts. That means I can play on the 3080 tier, and my kids maybe can play something else. Or on the Founders tier.
Oh, how does that work, Bjorn? Can you play on the same account, on the same Steam account for both accounts?
You can't play on the same Steam account, but if I'm playing something through Ubisoft or Epic, they can play something else from one of the other ones. So
that's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, you can. So as long as it's not Steam, then we're fine.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm really looking forward to exploring that more with them. I mean, they're a bit too young still for PC games. But they're getting there. I played Heroes of Might and Magic 3.
I bought Dinkum earlier.
I played Heroes of Might and Magic 3 on GeForce Now with my son the other day. I mean, that's a game that runs that's a game from 1999. It works on anything.
Well, the thing is, you see, my daughter, my eldest, she got a Switch for Christmas, so she's been heavily playing.
My daughter got a Switch for Christmas.
Did she? There you go. You see, it's it.
Switch Lite. Her mum bought her a Switch Lite. Yeah.
Oh, bless. Well, she's been playing Animal Crossing, and I've been watching it, thinking, I could get into this. So I just happened to I googled what's very similar to Animal Crossing on PC, and it turned out to be last Thursday's GeForce Now game, Dinkum. So I've purchased it. Yeah, well, it's actually set in Australia.
Yeah.
So I've purchased that one. I'm going to be having a little play with that later. It just tickled me trout.
Now I'm
As
curious.
you do.
Yeah.
So Clive touched on something earlier, which I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind us having a little chit chat about. And Clive was mentioning that GeForce Now they've got their CES coming up on Janvier the 3rd.
Yeah.
So that's next week sometime. Is it next Thursday?
Tuesday,
Wednesday? Tuesday.
They're hyping it big time.
They're hyping it. Now, behind the scenes as well, they're hyping it big time and with us ambassadors. And I can honestly say, or at least I can honestly say that I haven't a clue what they are. I've seen them talk about stuff before, and they've never hyped up like they're hyping up over this.
They showed, so they in a tweet this evening, they showed some game. Somebody said, I want to say State of Decay.
Yeah,
I think they're going to announce, not just games, but it was just in the tweet. They showed some game footage, which was quite interesting.
And they, I mean, it's not just the official GeForce Now account. It's every single local GeForce Now account, every single Nvidia account in general is tweeting about this event. And I mean, I've signed up to the email list for just GeForce in general and Nvidia in general and Nvidia AI. All of them are retweeting this event. And I mean,
so what do you think it is then, Bjorn?
I think there will be a myriad of things. I think it will be there will probably be some rendition of I don't know which. I remember which 40 cards. The 4090 obviously is out there. I've seen people buying it. What? But maybe a 4060 Ti or something like that.
4070 is rumored to be coming out as is.
So the 4070 then.
But what about GeForce Now?
It is. So it's part of, just to put it in context, it's part of CES.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so it's not like a standalone. It's
not a gaming. It's a consumer electronics.
It would probably be a 2-hour thing.
A standalone event. It's specifically in relation to CES. So I think there could be some consumer tech related. So maybe expansion to more TVs or enhanced.
Yeah, I think we'll see that. I think we'll
that,
also see, considering I mean, if you look the chip powering the NVIDIA Shield. It's the same.
We got there in the end. That's what I was waiting for.
The chip powering it's the same chip powering the Nintendo Switch, and I saw an article where reporters with who had sources working really closely with NVIDIA chips, mentioning to them that chip was going to be discontinued sometime towards the end of 2021. That might have been pushed a little bit, but by now, I'm assuming that chip is discontinued. They're not making more of those chips. Meaning we'll maybe see another chipset for mobile handheld devices, which would then most likely power the rumored Switch 2, and probably a new Shield.
I think it's a new Shield. I think it will be cheaper than the current kit.
Cheaper and better.
But much more powerful. And the current, I've got a Shield TV Pro, and it's what I use all the time. I mean, it's amazing, but it's dated. I think that we'll be able to stream from it. At the moment, we can stream from it, but only at 720, which, to be fair, on Twitch is fine. But there's very little in.
I'm guessing 4K streaming.
I think maybe
4K
not
4K down, 4K up.
Maybe, but I think just more control over it. I just think it will be a better device, and I suspect shipping it March, maybe next year, April, maybe.
I think sooner than that. I think they might be shipping.
Do you think they'll be launching it on the 3rd and saying, here you go?
At least very closely.
Well, they missed out on the Christmas sale then, didn't they?
Yeah, but
if they'd have just brought it back a couple of weeks.
Here is on CES, it's pre-order now. We will be shipping within 3 weeks or something like that.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. I mean,
But I think we'll also see, as Rudix is guessing, partnerships from, like they will announce some partnerships with some massive, big, like Rockstar, for example, but probably also Square Enix being officially announced, and some other ones as well.
If I had a wish, and as I say, I have no indication this is the case, but if I had a little pot that I could rub and get a wish out there, what I would like to see them announce is a much more integrated relationship with the likes of Steam, where they're not having to beg to port games over. That like other platforms that are pretenders to the throne, they actually have almost everything that's on the library available. That's what I would love to see, and I don't see the downside for anybody in that process. I heard that the reason why some studios are reticent is because they feel that if there's if Nvidia are charging for people to play their game, they should have a slice of that. I think that's incredibly short-sighted. Just as that, Nintendo and Sony and Microsoft also charge people to play games on their systems. You have to buy the kit, or you have to pay for a multiplayer edition with Gold, Xbox Gold Live or PlayStation Plus. But that's what I would like to see. I'd like to see a much more integrated relationship with the likes of Steam or Epic or GOG, etc.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think early doors. So when obviously pre-public launch, it was carte blanche. Everything was on there, wasn't an issue. And then launch, it was an issue because they're saying you've gone public now and you're selling yourself as a gaming platform off the back of our titles, and we're not getting a share of it. This is a new business model, so we don't know what the value of that share should be. So you get that. The same with stream. I buy rights, for streaming rights for TV and film and stuff like that. And initially there were people like, well, this is a new market, so we don't want to undersell ourselves, oversell ourselves. We don't know whether we're going to be getting into it, and so there's always a slight, reluctance, especially with bigger publishers, to kind of get on board that in case they sort of sign themselves up to something they're going to regret later. Yeah. But I think now there's been like nearly 2 years of it, that I think now that should have gone away, and these big companies are either deciding, we're going to have our own, like a Disney Plus, we're going to have our own streaming channel, our own cloud gaming channel, or actually we're quite happy with people buying games and playing them. We're not that bothered whether they play them via the cloud or on a PC. It doesn't, as we all know, it doesn't make any difference. So, and they don't feel that they're going to perhaps be losing out. So I hope they've sort of got beyond that, and it makes it easier for, as you say, for GeForce Now to go to people like Steam and say, why don't we have this relationship where if somebody signs up to your platform, it automatically is available on GeForce Now. That's, that would be a cool thing, I think, definitely.
That would be amazing. I also agree with something. There's a few things actually that Rudix have said that are really good, but this one point here, I've said this to GeForce Now. I don't think, there are a few that feel any differently, but the free tier does let it down. Yeah. I absolutely believe that they lose business because people try the free tier, find it a dog's dinner, and then decide that that's what the rest of the offering is like. And we all know that isn't the case. And the further up the tree you go, the more amazing it becomes.
You're better off with a free trial, aren't you?
Absolutely right.
Give it a 1 month's free trial.
Yep.
And then, if it sucks for you, it sucks for you. If not, fine. But I think get rid of the free tier and have free trial a month. A month. Save money.
Absolutely, money. No, I totally agree. The only reason I think the free tier is there is probably because some of the games that are free to play don't like the idea that they're people are having to pay to play them. And I don't know that that's the case or not, but I agree.
Fortnite factor. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And they kind of have to have those games on the platform, but it's not a great experience at the free end. They've got to throttle it, and, you know, they're going to obviously give it the lower resources and so on, because they need to free everything up for the guys that are paying. But I do wish, like you've just said, Clive, that actually it only comes after you've experienced the higher quality tier that you then have a choice. If you don't want to pay, that's fine. You now drop down, and you haven't paid for your 2 weeks or your 30 days of trial. So it's not that it's impacting on the free aspect, but wow, didn't you love the priority or even the 3080 if they're that generous? You know, so you can at least now experience free, because even if they then drop them into free, they're going to go, oh my God, this is nowhere near as good. I'm prepared to pay. And that's, I think, the bit that's missing in the whole, and that may well be something that they announce at CES, although I don't know that that's a huge consumer thing. I mean, that's a marketing thing that we might notice, but I don't know that consumers would give it stuff either way. They would just experience it differently, wouldn't they?
I wonder, they've sort of, in a way, they've built themselves into a slight corner in terms of their branding by calling the 3080 tier a 3080 tier. Like, because then what happens? Like, we're at 4070 tier. That doesn't make any sense. Well, you're a bit more like Stadia, where, like, as things upgrade, it automatically upgrades. So you have like a top tier.
Yeah.
Call it like the GeForce Now top tier, GeForce Now mid tier.
That's probably happening. Somebody did discover in a terms and conditions or something online that they were referring to it as something like the ultra tier.
Yeah.
So
ultra tier.
I suspect there's a rebranding just around the corner, because you're right. Now
and
a
then you just
3070
automatically upgrade. Yeah.
3080 is no longer
the
top dog.
scenes.
You know, people are going to go, well, yeah, but I want 4090 now. So you're better to completely pull out the tech from the name. And I suspect that's definitely something that's going to be announced at CES next week.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting show nonetheless.
Yeah.
I mean, there has always also been talk for years about Steam doing their own cloud thing. But I feel like it's more probable that Steam will like do something together with a partner.
Steam seem to be focused on the deck, don't they? On their deck.
Yeah.
That's
so
where their
I mean,
eggs are
for them to then go, we realize and accept that the deck can't play everything. So let's partner up with NVIDIA to bring GeForce Now to.
And people like Logitech are partnering with GeForce.
Yeah, I think Steam.
I mean, they've got they've got feet in the GeForce and the Xbox camp. I mean, they're not being stupid.
Yeah, but I mean, if Steam does that partnership with GeForce Now, then I can see like deeper integration with not only the like library syncing and like signing in, but also things like integrating the store, like you know, click buy on a game on Steam and then click play, and then you're launching into GeForce Now.
Yeah,
something like that could easily happen. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there as a curveball. It could happen, but if it's unlikely. Microsoft is also in the camp of being very happy with people playing on Windows. We could see Game Pass PC getting support for GeForce Now, something like that happening. Not saying we will, but I mean, it's not completely.
It's not completely beyond the realm of possibility. Yeah. I mean, I think Phil Spencer's obvious model is to put Xbox wherever it possibly can.
I mean, if he can sell Game Pass PC to someone who doesn't have a good PC, but they do have a GeForce Now, then why not? And I mean, if they can, then you can say, you can play it on our streaming for like these games. But
I could definitely see it on the
They're not losing out any money, are they?
No.
They would still
have to pay. You still have to pay, either buy the game or pay for your, Ultimate. So yeah.
So that's an issue with GeForce Now, right? So not everybody understands that GeForce Now is basically on its own, and when some of these guys see the subscription base where we're paying for GeForce Now, like these people that wants to partner, they want to have some of this money for them, right? They don't want to just go there. Oh yeah, we'll put it for free, right? But no, they're like, oh yeah, you're making money. Well, why don't we get a certain percentage? So I guess that's one issue with both publishers that trying to put their game on. They want some money out of that, and same thing with any type of partnership. They just don't want to put anything for free, right? They want to make sure that they have a piece of the
but
pie.
they are getting. That's the thing. The irony is that they're potentially leaving money on the table because
customers like me.
Yeah.
30% not on GeForce Now. I'm not buying it.
30% of nothing is nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
whereas people have to buy the game.
Yeah, I think that maybe
whether you've got a PC, a gaming PC.
Yeah.
Or you're playing it for the cloud, it shouldn't make any difference. You're still paying 30 quid for the game, 60 quid for the game.
And they're giving 30% to Steam or Epic or Sony or Microsoft. In fact, Microsoft have probably bought them. So, that's already happened. And they don't go to a broadband provider and say, oh, I understand you're charging Tommy for streaming down this game to play. I'd like a percentage of your broadband fee.
Don't give them any ideas, now, Rokk.
That's the thing. So GeForce Now is not a store.
No,
it's not a shop.
It's a service.
It's a service. Yes, which is something separate.
I think
the original argument was that publishers thought, well, you're selling your service off the back of the fame of our game. But I think we're beyond that now.
Yeah,
and I think the service is greater than the games. I think at first the service was dependent on the games. And if I was a publisher, when GeForce launched to the public, they very much were saying, you can play these games on our service. Mm-hmm. So if you're the publisher, you're using our games to get people to buy your service. I think now the balance of that has changed slightly now. And it's just another way, whether you buy a console or you buy a gaming PC or you rent a service in which to play the games, those publishers are still getting as much money off the sale of their game. Yeah. Whether you're buying it to play on a PC or you're buying it to play on GeForce Now. So it shouldn't make a difference now.
So we know that, right? Like we're very informed about GeForce Now and we know all of that. But the thing is, these publishers, they hear about GeForce Now for the first time and they don't know that. So I think right now, for sure, they need to be focused on advertising and make people maybe understand more of what they are. But definitely, I understand, of course, that point of view. That makes sense.
Yeah. So, do we have anything else we want to touch on GeForce Now, or should we move on to the next platform here?
I just think it's been an amazing year for GeForce Now. As much as it's been a disastrous year for Stadia, it's been an amazing year for GeForce Now. I think they've really taken they've taken the opportunity and run with it.
Definitely, yeah.
So obviously next up is the ever so wonderful X-Lab. And I mean they've had not as big of a year as GeForce Now maybe, but they've still done a bunch of stuff. I mean they've added I couldn't even count the amount of games because I mean games come, games go. I have no idea how many games, but a massive amount of them. I don't think it's quite as many as GeForce Now, but it's not definitely somewhere up there. I think if I'm not entirely mistaken, I think the touch support was added to about 100 games at least this year, which for someone who like me who likes playing on my phone was kind of a big deal.
Of all people, you're the one who would know that how many games has touch control. That's for sure.
Yeah, I know. They've added some more this week, but I haven't posted anything about it. So I really just now saw some new ones in there. So I need to go back in and try some more.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean they also brought Fortnite to mobile along with GeForce Now through streaming. They did ditch the local streaming stick to then instead help build the smart TV app for Samsung, with apparently more in development,
which made more sense to me.
Yeah, I agree. I think Phil Spencer said that they did that in 6 months. They did that pivot in 6 months.
Yeah.
insane.
What point is there? Xbox having a streaming stick. It's not there. A streaming stick is competing with in an area of business they're not in, and they're not in as well. They're not in the streaming stick business, because obviously you can't just say, and all you can do with this streaming stick is play Xbox. No, you'd have to make it a smart TV, and that's not their business.
I think Phil Spencer mentioned this.
Having an app, having an app.
He said
and the TVs are up there now, aren't they? The quality of the TVs going, from 2021 onwards, the Samsungs, the LGs, and as on Google TVs to a certain degree, but certainly the better TVs now, and going forward, the quality and power within those smart TVs is there to be able to deliver that cloud gaming experience through an app. So to me, it makes a lot of sense. But interesting, I was thinking, again, like I thought, when did the RTX 3080 come out? Blades, GeForce Now 3080 came out October. I was thinking, when did Xbox xCloud go to Xbox Series X?
I was actually just looking that up. And
October is exactly the same time.
Around the same time.
Which I think was interesting, because I think to a certain degree that was the power of Stadia.
Yes.
In the marketplace, because we've not seen as bigger improvements this year. We've seen incremental improvements in GeForce Now, what I said about the signing in and stuff like that. And
and we have seen incremental improvements as well in
xCloud. We've seen, absolutely.
Mainly the streaming performance.
Yeah, exactly. But not the massive leap that the introduction of the 3080 tier and introduction of Xbox Series X Blades was in October 21.
Yeah, I mean,
so it's
my
interesting this year.
The first time I tried,
slowed down a bit.
Yeah, the first time I tried xCloud was before that leap, and it was rough, to be honest. Whereas now, I mean, I've had several sessions playing Back 4 Blood with a couple of friends in multiplayer, and it's been seamless.
I completed Halo Infinite campaign. I completed Plague Tale, all via cloud.
Probably 10 hours in Vampire Survivors before they released the mobile version for me on my phone. But and also, funnily enough, they've also expanded to new regions this year. New Zealand and Argentina added to the cloud supported list, and possibly more that I just didn't spot when I rummaged through the 15 pages of blog posts.
I think 2023 is the year, though. That
I think they will explode
because of the games that are coming.
And they also, funnily enough, Xbox trademarked the name xCloud, which we were all calling it anyway. And they announced that over 20 million people have tried xCloud.
It's amazing, isn't it?
So yeah,
the overall quality. You're right. The quality of xCloud or Xbox Cloud Gaming in that year has gone up leaps and bounds, and as it has, I think, for most of the cloud gaming services. And it just goes to show, I mean, I know there are still people that struggle with their local network or how far they are from their closest point of presence and stuff, and they tend to be quite vocal, and they tend to damn the whole market based on their own experience. But in the average experience, it is absolutely superb. And quite honestly, I don't know about you guys, but I still will always look to see if a game I want to play is available in the cloud before I go down the route of whether I'm going to install it or not.
Oh, well, ironically enough, I've always, said, I just want to play in the cloud. I just want to play in the cloud. Ironically enough, it has now become, for me, a trial system in a way for certain games that I think actually I don't want to be interrupted, because I still get, because my kid's in the house and suddenly, my son decides he wants to download a new game, then it affects everything in the house, and I'm usually in the middle of some, game on xCloud, and it's kind of
intense rat race in
what? And I walk into his room, storm into his room, and going, "What are you downloading? Nothing, Dad. Oh yeah, just this new game." So now I've got to that stage in which how I think Xbox actually see it is a sort of a try before you buy thing on certain big games that actually I think actually will want this game, so I'm going to download it overnight. So I've enjoyed playing it like instantly, which I still love. It's annoying to download, but at least you can play it instantly and then go, actually, I've enjoyed this so much. I'm going to bed now, but I'll download it overnight and then play the local version, you know.
Totally agree. Exactly the same. I will always try if I can to try it. But then, you know, you play... I genuinely think for most of the services, even if you end up playing the whole thing in the cloud, you don't struggle. I don't struggle.
No.
There's one service that I've played, and I won't mention them here. Ah, look at this!
He's in his car.
Look at this.
It's the man!
Where is his hat? There we go.
Yay! Can you hear us, Mr. Cowboy?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Sir.
I can't hear you.
Okay.
This is new for me. I'm not
Yeah,
sure
sorry,
what
that's
I'm
on
not
me.
doing right.
Oh,
Well,
But
we can,
it's no audio coming to me. Let me check.
are you today playing the role of Ray?
Speakers. Speakers just says default.
Yeah.
man, is it still daytime where you live? Oh my gosh,
Like
it's
Chucky,
super
you know,
bright.
He's
Okay, let me try something.
You're East Coast, aren't you, Ninja?
Yeah, I
he's,
am.
He's East Coast as well, I think, aren't you? Ant?
I think it's not that many hours difference from me.
Yeah.
Maybe he's in a big light or something. Maybe
Well,
he's at a party.
the further, yeah. Actually, no, the further north
I suppose
you
it
get,
might
should
be
lighter.
the lights from the nightclub.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
there
of
you go.
course,
Yeah,
yes,
still,
yes.
yeah.
Spearmint Rhino, where he's just come from. Yeah,
Yeah, from his work, right?
from his
Yeah,
pole.
from the day job. I just want to while we wait for Ant's audio
Can
to
you
kick
can
in,
you hear us, Ant?
Oh, he's like super low level now.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're
it's
like-
We
little
hear you
voice.
worse now, but
Yeah.
Yeah, he's... Anthony, can you hear us?
I'm stuck in my throat.
Oh, there you go. Dashboard.
Hey, there we are.
Nice.
We're getting everything.
yeah, I just wanted to add 20 minutes. No, never mind.
Heatings
I
up.
already said 20 million people had played this out. Hey, Cowboy, and as soon as you can hear us, let us know. Just interrupt me. But in the meantime, I'll mention my favorite part of xCloud this year has definitely been the push to mobile that they've done. I mean, not only the copious amount of touch support games with various success of them, but also they've been pushing the Kishi. I think they even released a special version of the Kishi, which include when you buy the Kishi, you can get some free months of Game Pass if you with some bundle for a while as well. They did promotion with that. So it feels like, whereas obviously GeForce Now is pushing very hard on the PC market because that's their core audience. xCloud seems to be pushing they're a trial service for the console gamers, but for mobile gamers, they are really pushing themselves as an option to local games, which I think is great. I mean, honestly, put a Kishi on your phone and jump into any game on xCloud, and it's just as if it was a native, running natively. It's surprising a lot of people. Whenever I show it off to people's minds are usually blown away. So for me, it's definitely mobile, and it was also a nice bonus to get a message from the head of Xbox Cloud Gaming when I released my list of touch support games, being like, "Hey, good job! I've shared it internally." It was kind of cool.
It's nice to know that he's got your picture up on his wall, isn't it? So
Exactly.
hero.
I've got my foot through the door now. Yeah.
Other people have got Aha and ABBA, but the guys at Microsoft have got Bjorn.
They've got me.
Yeah. Beautiful thing. It's a thing of beauty. Right. Well, I can see Ant down in the down there, but he's not showing up.
He's there we go. He's showing up
there
twice
he is.
in the.
There we
list
go.
of guests.
There we go.
For whatever reason, there's no audio coming through for me.
But we can now hear you way worse than we could before.
I'm not sure
But we can hear you.
what.
Can we increase your volume now?
You could just talk because you don't often listen to anybody anyway. Says,
well, too bad he wouldn't hear you.
Says
he knowing
he can't hear me. Yeah. We could do sign language. Could we put up some captions for him or something?
I don't know. Do they have auto captions?
I wonder why. I wonder why he can't hear. I mean, it's fine for you two guys, and you're in the same system. He's using the same link. Other than
he's on his phone. That's the only difference.
Yeah.
Might be that.
No. Okay.
I can see your mouth's moving, but I don't hear any. Like no sound is coming from my phone.
Oh, we got. So I see what you're saying. We've got him in twice.
Yeah, it's weird. But while Rokk troubleshoots, just I'm gonna leave this to you now. Ninja, what's been your xCloud highlight this year?
So yeah, when the Xbox Series X, when xCloud upgraded to Xbox Series X, I gave xCloud a try, but it still wasn't working too well for me for some reason. I live very far from the servers. I think I'm in Canada and the servers are from United States, so quite a few hours away. So for me, my highlight is like the constant improvement that they've made in 2022, because they're still like making, I don't know what they're doing, but the engineers has finally made it playable for me on my end finally. So
Black magic is the answer always.
Yeah.
Exactly. They specifically laid a wire straight to your house.
That's those guys that are just hanging out in my porch. I see. Okay, that makes sense. But no, like, oh my gosh, it's finally, I'm finally having the experience that I want to have with Xbox this year. So that was a big highlight for me. I could finally say that I was playing like a console in the cloud. Other than Stadia, of course. But so finally Xbox is giving me the cloud experience that I wanted to. So that's my highlight.
Yeah. Clive, how about you?
Yeah, the closure of Stadia just like forcing me to go back to Xbox. I've always liked Xbox, and then to rediscover some of the, Games Pass, they just have some cracking games on there. And so, and to be able to experience that, like I mentioned Plague's Tale Requiem, but, there's been other things, Halo Infinite, being able to play that now, and these things that games I could have played, well, especially Halo Infinite, ages ago, but I was so focused on Stadia that I didn't. But the fact there is so much great choice on Games Pass and new games added all the time that you can dip in and explore, and I'm so looking for 2023. So it's really actually the highlight for me was being able to go back to Xbox with the new improved stream quality, and really enjoy and play through whole campaigns of big games that I didn't necessarily get the chance to do on Stadia. So yeah, that was for me a highlight.
I just clicked on permissions, and it's still I still can't hear you guys.
What?
Yeah. Might have to wait for Ant to get home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suggested that. It is odd.
So, Rokk, what about you? Favorite xCloud moment?
Yeah, I mean, same as Clive, really. I mean, there have been some amazing games that, like Plague Tale, like High on Life, which I've just completed. Absolutely love that.
Yeah, High on Life.
Love that game.
I've got to just finish that as myself.
Yeah.
What a great fun game.
That's superb. Yeah. And these are games that I probably wouldn't have experienced if it wasn't for the fact that they're coming day and date to Xbox. I think it's the best value in gaming, full stop. And to the extent that, I'm spoiled. I've got a Series X. I've also got a PS5. And although PlayStation keep actually popping some half decent games up on, I just haven't picked it up because I'm spoilt with what's coming out from Game Pass Ultimate and what's also available via free games at Epic or, discounted on Steam. And then you look at these 80 quid games on PlayStation, you think, I can't bring myself to pay that kind of money anymore. It's almost like they're desperately trying to keep in their walled garden not realizing because they've built their walls too high that the rest of the world is changing around them. And unless they do something about it. Oh, hello. Clarence got his wings again, has he? What's that?
Yeah.
What happened there?
No, it was just showing off the magic of. It's playing again.
You just wanted to interrupt me. This is like our safe word now. When Bjorn thinks that the world's heard too much of me, he plays.
Oh my gosh! So, Rokk, I know that you're like a person that you usually.
Yeah, he's a person.
Yeah, you're a person. There you go. You usually either purchase or rent a game, go through it, and then
complete it.
Move on. Yeah, and then move to the other
try
game.
to.
So how's your experience with Game Pass? I know that this. It must be overwhelming. How do you decide which game you want to play and finish in this whole list of library?
Yeah, and so I'm not. There are a lot of people who are what I call magpies, and they just want to collect, and then they just have a little bite, have a taste, and move on to the next thing. And I can't play games that way. If I play a game, I want to finish a game. So at the moment, what have I got on the go? Callisto Protocol, which I've got on Xbox. High on Life I just completed. And I've just bought Dinkum, and I promise you I'll complete it because that's what I like to do. And I am renting games, but if I put them on and think it's not for me, it goes straight back in the bag. The most recent one being Elden Ring. I spent an hour and I thought, nope, this is definitely not a game I'm going to enjoy, and it went straight back in the pack. I'm quite choosy in the sense that I only want to play games that I'm likely to complete, unless I'm reviewing them. So if I get given a code and somebody has kindly given me a code to review it, then I will do that. But I rarely finish those games off because invariably they're not games I want to complete. Having said that, I've been playing Marvel's Winter. Is it Marvel's Winter? Midnight Suns.
Midnight Sun, yeah.
Yeah,
So
and that's actually surprisingly good for me. I say that purely because it's not. I know it's the kind of game that Bjorn and you, Ninja, and I don't know, Clive, have you had a play? No. It's not the kind of game I would normally play because I'm not into those kind of card games. I have to say, this one has surprised me. I know you've been really enjoying it, Bjorn, haven't you?
Yeah. I played it. Like I did a video, like initial video for it, and I was like, yeah. So this was fun. The video didn't do very well, so I didn't do any more of that. And it's been my like go-to whenever it's like, oh, I have like 2 hours to myself. Yeah, it's Midnight Suns time. And I think one of the GFN guys was saying in the ambassador chat the other day that he played really well. Like he's played it on his phone with a Kishi for a while, and he played really well. So now I'm like, should I skip 2 hours of sleep tonight and bring my Kishi to bed and like lay there with everyone else sleeping and playing?
Who's this mistress you keep mentioning in your sleep?
Yeah, it's Captain Marvel. No. It's an amazing game. I love it.
Yeah. And these are games that I wouldn't have played. I mean, because I've been able to play
Vampire
them.
Survivors for me is one of those. Like I played it, tried it as I'm trying every game with touch on xCloud, and I realized how much fun it was when I did. Because before that I was like, I've heard of it, but people have been saying it's good, but I don't know. It doesn't seem like something for me. And then I gave it 5 minutes and I was hooked.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's one of those. But then again, I'm the opposite of you, Rokk. I never finish games. I think I finished on average. I finish maybe one game a year. I play like 50 different games a year at least, but I never finish any of them.
Yeah, I have to, and it's another reason why I'm not a massive game streamer, because I'm quite picky about my gaming. I like, I don't mind streaming games, but invariably there are games that I'm probably playing, and I can't play and talk, and I feel like I've let my, I'm not delivering the content that I need to deliver if I'm not fully engaging with the people watching me. And I just haven't learned that skill. I mean, people like John can do it falling off a log. I can't. It's one or the other for me.
I get what you mean. I have a lot of games that all the games that I personally play, I actually don't play them on stream.
Yeah.
my stream is mostly just for entertainment, and sometimes I stream for an hour and then I'm like, wait, what was the story again? Like I can't remember because I want to interact with people, and so it's very different.
Yeah. Do you feel the same way, Clive, or do you sort of?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind. I mean, what John's so good at it because he sort of says out loud what he's doing. Yeah. So that's kind of a way to keep talking is because you just sort of say, and then he reads all the voices and so at least he's sort of at least he's communicating in some way by vocalizing what he might be saying in his head. So that works well. I don't mind, but then I do feel a bit guilty if I'm playing a game and it's a particularly difficult level and therefore it takes me 50 times to beat a particular boss. That's not particularly entertaining after about the 10th death.
I always hate easiest difficulty on stream always.
Yeah. Maybe I never thought about it because I always set my games at the default set, whatever they come, which is basically medium
just
setting.
The story. That's the best one.
Yeah. But that's the only thing is when you get to a real difficult level, it must be really frustrating for viewers if you just keep dying and they're going, "Oh my God, it's so easy! What the hell are you doing? I know. You idiot! Did you not see?" All right, sorry, mate.
I mean, I'm the kind of I realized I'm decent at playing games while streaming, but what I realized the most is I love trying new games while I stream, and then usually I've started going back to games a couple 6 months, 2 years later. I did a stream of this game 2 years ago. It was really fun. I should play more of it, and then I played on my own, and then I played for many hours. But I also do it the other way around. If it's a game that I discover, I really love this game. I've been playing it for 15 hours straight. I had a weekend for myself, played it nothing but this game, and then I was like, I should probably stream that. I want to show it off to people because I love it.
If it's a strong story campaign, like Red Dead Redemption 2, I played that, and I've actually played the whole thing on, stream the whole thing, the whole story. And that was interesting because it's not too difficult because you're going through because it's story based. So it wants you to get through the story and tell it. And it was quite fun having people come on that journey, people who've played it before and appreciated the journey that I was on and knew what was going to come up next and wanted to see how I'd react, people who were unfamiliar with the game, that kind of stuff. So I think story based games that aren't too difficult in terms of sort of the boss levels and stuff like that are quite interesting to play through and have people join you on a regular basis.
Cowboy's nodding. Does that mean you can hear us?
I can hear you, baby.
Woo-hoo! Awesome.
There he is. How did you resolve it?
I restarted my phone.
The old restart trick.
This IT guy I know, he said 90% of the issues with a computer could be fixed by restarting your phone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and the other 10% is the person using it.
Yes.
They're doing something wrong.
Yes.
That's my experience of working on IT.
Sure.
But now that we have you here, I've been kind of holding off moving on to PlayStation because I wanted to bring it to wait until you were on to do that. PlayStation, I mean, they've had a great year in general. I would say maybe on the cloud side, maybe not that big, but they did revamp PlayStation Plus to very much confusion for a lot of people. But the end result is at least is the higher tiers being very very attractive to people. Where even though the cloud part of it maybe isn't that clear. I mean, I still have no idea how the cloud part works because it's too they're really bad at telling people how it works. But they also saw some great success with the first party games, especially God of War Ragnarok. Favorite PlayStation moment this year? Let's start with you, Ant. Now that we're here.
God of War Ragnarok. I would say this. So I would say this. Originally, I was excited for PlayStation because I was big in the cloud, and when I heard the rumors of what was it called back? Project Spartacus, I got excited. But I said I need a few things. I need them to at least have PlayStation games that could be streamed. That was PlayStation 4 versions, and I needed them to at least be as good as Xbox, where at least the service was able to be changed. And they actually held up that. They almost do almost any game. They'll have a streaming version if it's the PlayStation 4 version. So I do think just unfortunately, I kind of my love for cloud kind of died a little bit.
We must have gone into a network black spot.
Yeah.
But where did we get to? Ragnarok?
Yeah. So while we wait for Cowboy to return, favorite PlayStation moment. Who wants to go next?
Oh,
I don't have one.
Clive hasn't got an PlayStation, so he's
not interested. Although, having said that, I saw on Steam, this is PlayStation related, God of War in the sale.
Oh,
yeah, the original,
and the God of War, the original one, and then and also because it was only because was it Epic? I can't remember. Anyway, I think it was Epic. It was an Epic store. It's in the sale, and they reminded me that I had a discount voucher, and I thought, oh, well, actually, maybe. Trouble is, can't play it through GeForce Now, but I was thinking maybe I should see what all the hype's about. It's a low enough price for me to sort of, give it a go. So I'm sort of tempted, but the only drawback is I'm just not sure where I would play it. I don't really want to download it and play it on the PC. Maybe Boosteroid, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
That's your only choice, right? Or Shadow at the moment, other than putting it on a PC. Yeah. I mean, that is a good thing in the sense that they are releasing more and more of their older, first-party games to PC. And I'd like to see that happening more day and date, but it won't happen while they're still making money from their consoles. That's I think an interesting thing for me actually, which is to the side of the console, is the fact that they are being much more active with their IP in other places. So we're starting to see, Last of Us TV show and
Uncharted movie.
Yeah, and they're working on Horizon Zero Dawn. There was Uncharted, as you've rightly said, and they bought Destiny and a Bungie on the basis of Destiny being a very bankable IP. So I think actually seeing, and of course they would, because Sony movies, etc. I mean, they've got a vested interest in it. But I that's really useful for me because I think a lot of us are very invested emotionally in the characters and the stories in the games we play. And when those games end, like Clive was mentioning, Plague Tale, or in my case, even Death Stranding, ironically, or Horizon, and we get to the end of those games, and it's a bit like the last page in a book, and you think, I wish I want to carry on. So I love the fact that they're taking these characters and they're turning them into TV series or into films so that we can experience them in other places. So that's been a good thing to see, I think, this year from Sony. And of course they can, because they've been developing their IPs, very carefully with Guerrilla and some of the studios they've owned. So that's been cool. I think the downside for me this year has been the way they fragmented the PlayStation Plus. I don't think they got it right, and a lot of people have struggled with the complexity of it. I'm baffled why cloud gaming is only available at the highest level tier, when quite clearly it's something that that should be available on all tiers. That's a weird thing for me. I've never got my head around. And the fact that they release a chunk of games at the beginning of a month, excuse me, and then 2 weeks later they release another chunk of games, and there's just games coming from all over the place, and half the time I really don't know what they've released. So it's like, hang on, is this on cloud? Is this not on cloud? Is this what's going on? Retro. They just, for me, they've just gone well over the top with it, whereas other people are rationalizing their services and their service offerings. Sony just don't seem to have grasped it. So I was always a massive PlayStation fan. It upsets me.
Yeah, I'm back online, just so you guys know. There's one city that I go through, and for whatever reason, my mobile provider, I guess they just isn't good. Matter of fact, that's the same city I was in when I was recording myself or I was streaming that time, walking through the mall.
I
And so I
remember.
learned from then
Yeah,
that
that
it's
was
very
bad.
important.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
avoid
really
that
bad.
city. Like,
Yeah.
better take an extra 15-minute route to
Yeah.
avoid it.
Yeah.
But it's usually in 5 minutes. I drive through there for about as long as 5 minutes. But I don't know if you want me to finish talking about PlayStation, or I could just
Hey, go
jump
for
in
it.
whatever you
Yeah,
guys
no,
talk about.
absolutely. Go for it.
Um, no, I think I was impressed that Sony did what I wanted them to do as far as cloud, but I think they didn't pull it together right. I think
Yeah.
everything Rokk was saying, you really feel it. Like, I have no clue what games are coming out, when they're coming out. They really should have did 2 tiers, right? They should have did the normal one that you've always heard of, and then this brand new one that give you everything else. They give you extra games on top of PlayStation Plus games. They give you the cloud games, and then they would give you the PlayStation 3 games that a lot of people want, but they're in the cloud.
Yeah.
So it is a little ridiculous. And then on top of that, their cloud, I guess, app is probably the most poor app. Like, now, it plays great, but there's no search bar. Like, it's just very, if you want to find a game, you're scrolling through the whole thing. It really needs some TLC, if you ask me.
Yeah.
But
Totally.
I also think they don't really care as much as everybody else, because
No,
the
they don't.
flagship model of PlayStation is a console. If they get you to get
Yeah,
their
and especially
console,
now that they're also bringing out like the PSVR 2.
Yep.
That's even more like they are hardware focused at the end of the day.
Yep.
At least for another couple of years. And that's just the way it is. I mean, but then again, they make great hardware. I mean, this was the first. This year was the first time I actually got my hands on trying a PS5. A friend of mine got one earlier this year, and I mean, playing Astrobot with that adaptive controller was like, oh, now I get the hype.
The controller's unbelievable. It's a
Yeah,
gorgeous,
like that,
absolutely
like
so
the fact
nice
that
to
I can
work.
feel in my hands,
Yeah.
the feeling that I feel in my feet when I'm on like ice skating
Yeah.
in a controller just through vibrate. Like I don't know how they did it.
Yeah.
But yeah. But other than that, I can agree.
Yeah,
All of you.
and that's they've got the PSVR 2 coming out in Feb, and that's going to be light years ahead of the Oculus. I got to play with an Oculus 2 over the Christmas period, and I didn't think it was as good as the PSVR first one around personally.
Yeah.
And so, and that's been massively hyped. So I'm looking forward to. So they're great with the tech. They get the tech, and they're great with fostering their first-party developers, and it's just their games are just amazing. They're untouchable, but they just seem to have ballsed it up in terms of how to sell it as a service.
Yeah.
And they're losing people hand over fist when all Phil Spencer's got to do is just buy more studios and throw more games in the pot. And they're losing their customers every day of the week because their offering could be so good.
But I think the thing is, though, Rokk, I think what they're not worrying about, so subscription service was never super popular with PlayStation. Like, I've been a PlayStation fan for a long time, and I had PlayStation Plus for a long time, but it was mainly just to be able to play online. So you kind of gonna keep it just because you need it to play online, unless you're only playing free-to-play games. So I think for Sony, like you said, I mean, we could go on and on of all the games they come out with. You almost have that fear of loss. Like, I would almost not get rid of my PlayStation to jump ship. So yeah, I might jump ship and say, hey, I'm gonna have my subscription games on Game Pass, but I wouldn't lose PlayStation Plus, just the regular, or now it's called PlayStation Extra, right, or Essential. So I would keep the Essential because I need to play online with my friends. So either way, I don't think they really care too much if you don't get Extra and you don't get Premium, because you're going to keep Essential to play online. I think they're smart, but I think our optics, because we're cloud gamers, is to us, we're like, man, they need to do better. And they're probably like, I mean, we had PlayStation Now forever and no one cared. So
Yeah, and honestly, I think maybe what PlayStation would like, as soon as the whole buying Activision Blizzard thing is done, and they can start talking as friends again, because to some extent, I think, like, honestly, we know that, because I mean, Phil Spencer has said it in the past, they are open to bringing Game Pass to PlayStation. And honestly, I think, like, if PlayStation can sell hardware off of Microsoft subscription, I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, they'll take 30% of it, of the fee, because I mean it's their store, and then sell more hardware. I don't see why they wouldn't in the future. But I think we are.
So you said you think they would. You said you think they would put Game Pass on PlayStation?
Yeah, I think in a couple of years we might very well see that. I know Microsoft wants to, and I think Sony is going to at some point say, fuck it, why not?
See, reason why I disagree with that, I think a big thing that PlayStation does great, it's called brand recognition. The moment you allow, so yes, it's money. Money is the top, but they're killing with brand recognition. You almost think anything on PlayStation is premium, right? Yeah. So when they say our games are $70, you just feel like, I mean, I guess they should cost $70. But if now I'm able to put my competition on my own product, yeah, maybe, I don't know if somebody's going to buy a PlayStation just to play Game Pass, but I think you're going to allow people to see your competition in a different light. And now people might think that Xbox is a brand is more, I guess, more premium, right? Because it's on PlayStation. And I feel like that would probably be a wrong move, but I don't know.
Yeah,
it's crazy
I mean,
to me.
PlayStation. I mean, PlayStation significantly. We sometimes look at PlayStation from a kind of Western perspective, and PlayStation is Sony, and Sony is a Japanese company, and Japan, despite all the technology and everything they have, is quite the senior management levels in Japan are very senior. They're quite old. In Japan, offices still have fax machines. There's this sort of myth that we think, Japan is full of kind of robots and all that kind of stuff, when actually they were very slow on the mobile phone uptake, and therefore they lost out to Apple and Android and all that kind of stuff. So they're a bit more traditional. And they're a consumer electronics company. They sell boxes. That's their business. Yeah. Xbox is not about selling the boxes. They are in that business because they had to be in that business. Yeah. But they're more about now, games and being a games company.
They've always been software. Windows is also software.
So that's the slight difference. And I think Anthony's right. There is a certain premium sense to Sony. The way I look at it is a bit like Apple. I'm not personally interested in Apple, but you ask a kid, do you want a phone? They're going to say, yeah, can I get an iPhone, please? Mm-hmm. Like, not because they've done the research and read all the reviews and think that it's the best phone in the world. It's because all their mates have got it. So if you think that PlayStation is significantly outsold Xbox, and you especially in Japan, which is going to be influencing the senior management at Sony, it's like, why do we have to go into cloud? Why do we have to go into subscription? Our business model here is working really, really well. And you ask a kid, there's plenty of sort of YouTube shorts and TikToks of kids given an Xbox and then having a meltdown, spoiled brats having a meltdown because it's not what I wanted. I wanted a PlayStation. I hate you. That kind of stuff. And it's because it's the same. It's that iPhone thing. Like, Granny buys their kid an Android, which is really super cool. But no, I wanted an iPhone. And it's because my mates have got an iPhone. So that's the business model they rely on. It's because of that brand that people are quite happy
and it
to
works
kind
well,
of.
so.
Yeah, and it works. Yeah. So if it ain't broke, they may not be realizing the world is moving, the floor is moving beneath them. But in their mind, they're probably going, if it ain't broke, why fix it?
Yeah. It's crazy to me because the way that we're talking about PlayStation right now is the way that we've been talking about Nintendo for years now. Yeah. Whenever people say like, Switch doesn't do that, but people doesn't care because they're just doing their own thing. They don't really take these guys as competition, right? They're in their own world. So maybe PlayStation is trying to start to do that approach too now.
Yeah, and they honestly might succeed.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
They just move at a glacial pace in terms of change,
Yeah.
So does Nintendo, to be honest. Well, it's a Japanese.
Well, typically people change when you're forced to change, right? Yeah. So if PlayStation is holding a good foothold, because I don't think PlayStation or Xbox is really competing with Nintendo. Nintendo's in a league of their own. They're smart. They should just stick. And I don't even think they should upgrade their hardware significantly, because the moment they do, then they're going to be compared on the same level. But if
Yeah.
you look at PlayStation and Xbox, it's kind of like we're winning. So why should we do all
Yeah.
this extra stuff? Now, once it shows that they're losing a foothold, then that's when they should change. And I just think don't mess with it if it isn't broken.
Although when you realise you need to change, it's probably too late.
That's true.
That's the only thing. Is I'd like to think that's what I'm saying. They're a bit traditionalist and old-fashioned, arguably, and resting on their laurels to a certain degree.
Yes.
I'd like to think that there's some think tank in Sony going like with a plan for how are we going to move to a cloud streaming world, plus support our hardware, plus all this kind of stuff. They just seem a bit behind the times and resting on their laurels. And as you say, why should they have to? But you need to plan.
Right.
You need to plan ahead, even though you are number one. If you want to, it's like in soccer teams, football teams in this country. If you want to keep winning, you have to keep refreshing your team, buying new players. You have to keep, evolving. Also, changing your strategy. You can't just keep playing the same way because others eventually catch up with you.
I think to your analogy, that's what they're doing. So their players are their games. So they're not. Microsoft, let's say they're playing football, right? And their football is their console. So games are your players. Sony's going to keep getting new players. Microsoft is trying to play a new game with Game Pass. Now here's the problem. Last year in 2021, everybody said the best value in gaming was Game Pass. So 2022. That's not the case. Everybody's disappointed with Game Pass. So it's kind of like Sony just standing there watching.
But at the same time, it still is the best value. Like, people aren't saying it anymore, but it still is.
Yeah,
but
I think it is.
Well,
and
okay, so here's the thing.
2023 will be significant because there were delays in games. So I think 2023 will make up for 2022.
Well, here's the thing. Video games to me is a popularity contest, right? And that's all it really is. He who's more popular is the winner. They have to put out. Somebody asked me this question earlier, and they said, what do they need to do to succeed in 2023? They need, to me, at least 4, I don't care if they're the best games, but 4 popular games. They need 4 games on Game Pass that everybody's talking about. Like Starfield comes out, and you're like, man, they really did. Like when Elden Ring came out, there was people who wasn't a Souls person, but everybody talked about Elden Ring. So the thing is, so when you say value, we could determine it by dollars, right? Yes, you get a bunch of games for $15 a month. Yes, great value. Can't knock that. However, when you dissect that value, it's like, okay, like me, I canceled it, right? Because I played How High. I was like, it's cool, or High on Life. And then I was kind of like, well, what else do I play? So you have to say that value is great, but for how long? And so for how many people and how consistent, right? So these things have to be dissected to see if it's winning or not. In my book.
Yeah, and I think you're right. And I think there was a disappointment in 2022 because there were games that were meant to be coming out, big major AAA games that were the tent poles, as you say, like 3 or 4 major tentpole AAA games straight into Games Pass. They got knocked on for whatever reason, and I think they'll get their mojo back in 2023. And then when the Activision Blizzard deal goes through, there you've got another conveyor belt of massive potential games, coming beyond that. So I think 2022 was disappointing because of the expectation, because some games got pushed out. But I think we'll see that mojo get back in 2023 and onwards.
Nice. Let's start wrapping up. Before as a wrapping up thing, let's wrap up the year by. I basically have 4 things that I want to have a quick fire round from all of you. Top newcomer to the cloud field. We've seen Booster, Black Knight, Atomic Shadow, all of these trying to grab space from. Some of them aren't maybe newcomers; they've been around for quite a while, but they've been certainly seeing more attention in quite a while in the last couple of months. So favorite newcomer service. Top gaming moment of the year period, your game of the year, and then your most anticipated game for next year. Rokk, let's start with you.
Oh, thanks. When you say newcomer, what, someone that's only emerged in 22, or
I mean, what, like they're fine to have been around for a while, but one of these smaller ones.
I mean, I think we're seeing diversification of the cloud services. And what basically is happening is that a lot of these guys are trying. There's a load of them that are just doing the same thing, and they won't survive. And there are some that are trying different models. Interestingly, even the likes of Amazon Luna appear to be just gently changing their model on the fly. Trying to tweak at the edges to see what may work better for them. I think everybody appreciates the value of cloud. They're just trying to establish at the moment what would be the most...
what works for them.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see, I think. I mean, there are companies out there who I've dealt with that certainly they're very, very passionate about cloud. I mean, Boosteroid are passionate about what they do. Blacknut are passionate about what they do. Whether there's a big enough market for all of them, that's going to be the difficult thing. And my bigger fear for them, and this I know isn't the question you asked, but my bigger fear for them is that once cloud becomes just the thing that you do rather than you specifically seek out as a service, which is likely to come most prevalently from Microsoft, I think. Those other guys that are offering it as a standalone service are going to just disappear because, well, hang on, why am I paying extra for this? I already get it, don't I? So, I don't know yet. That I think they're all just feeling their way. But to be fair, I think certainly the ones that I've spoken with, they really believe passionately in cloud. And we see this, and you've seen this, Bjorn, in your interviews with developers like Outright Games, that they have cloud guys, they have people in the company who are dedicated to using cloud for all it's worth. So I wouldn't want to single out a single company. I mean, I personally love what GeForce Now are doing, but having said that, I like the fact that Boosteroid are looking to build streaming into their service, and it brings it back full circle because everything that these guys are doing, Stadia was kind of doing, and it's just such a shame that they are where they are. In terms of games, what am I looking forward to next year? Hogwarts, I think, is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to. I know my girls have been looking forward to it forever. Which is going back to what Clive said about, that hitting that market. I think the whole kind of iPhone come Hogwarts, Harry Potter kind of, it's their age. Just games that I can complete, that they're easy enough for me. I can't be doing with end of level bosses and souls and roguelite. I can't be doing all that stuff. Take all that away. That's been a thing in 22 I wish it hadn't had. The rise of the roguelite and the survival games, and no, not for me.
Yeah, there's a market of everything that maybe. Clive, how about you?
Yeah, like GeForce Now aside, if we're looking at those smaller ones, then I'm really impressed with what Boosteroid doing, especially given the Ukrainian company. And not being, although they've got backing, but they're not backed by a big, giant, recognizable corp, a Microsoft or Google or whatever, Amazon, and they're doing it out there, and they're doing a really good job in terms of the tech. And it plays really well. I mean, it's 1080p, but that is fine for not most people. But the quality's really good, and then the opportunity to play games that aren't on GeForce Now. I play Call of Duty on there and stuff like that, and just given the circumstances of what's going on, I think it's amazing that they do what they do, and there are some issues with it and stuff like that. I get that, but I just think it's a shout out to Boosteroid, and I kind of feel happy in a way that, in a way you're supporting the effort in Ukraine every time you subscribe to them. So shout out for that.
Let me just finish this here.
In terms of games this year, A Plague's Tale Requiem was really, I've been waiting for a game like that for a long time. That real emotional experience. I had it on the Tomb Raiders. I had it on Red Dead Redemption, and then I had it on Plague's Tale. Really good gaming experience that I want to like. I want that kind of. This is what games or some element of games are about. That kind of interactive storytelling and experiencing, that story and getting involved in the characters because they're well written, they're well acted. Rather than just being secondary, the acting or the writing being secondary to the gameplay. I want it all combined beautifully, and I thought Plague Tale did that really well.
Yeah.
In terms of games next year, looking forward to Starfield. And originally, it wasn't a game that kind of bothered me, but the more I see of it, the more intrigued I am of it, and I'm looking forward to playing it just because it's intriguing me more and more of the clips.
Did you ever play No Man's Sky, Clive?
A little bit, yeah, when it first came out.
Did you enjoy? Enjoy it?
No, I think a little bit, but it just it was quite sparse when it first came out. No. But the point is, and I know like people a sort of a similar thing could be leveled at Sea of Thieves, although I really, Sea of Thieves it was repetitive, it's the same thing, but I actually really, really enjoyed the simplicity of the early days of Sea of Thieves in a way I didn't quite enjoy the simplicity of No Man's Sky.
No.
But I'm hoping that there's enough depth to Starfield that it will pull.
Because I know that when they showed the early gameplay and trailers, it was so similar to No Man's Sky, and I'm hoping that they have gone beyond that and will have a story.
It seems like they have.
Yeah,
and
that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
Any small service you want to shout out, then top game of the year, gaming moment of the year, and or favorite thing you're looking forward to?
Was that aimed at Ninja?
Yeah. Oh, was it me? Oh, sorry.
I didn't hear you either.
Definitely Boosteroid House there stands out because I feel like they complement GeForce Now in terms of games because they have some really good games, right? Yeah, like Horizon Chase Turbo, Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War, and Final Fantasy VII Integrate remake. So yeah, definitely Boosteroid is out there. I'd say has as one of the more one that stands out compared to the other ones for sure. In terms of games this year, I actually I don't know. I feel like I missed out on a lot of games, and no worries. Like Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is a game that I want to play at some point because it's it's a good RPG. Oh man, it's hard to speak. It's like a echo.
Can we do something?
Anyway, so yeah, like Clive said, A Plague Tale was awesome. It was an excellent story. The character development was amazing. So I think that's the best game I've played this year for sure. Next year, I'm really looking forward to Final Fantasy 16, but it's a timed exclusive, and I don't have a PlayStation 5, so I think I'm gonna need to get a PlayStation 5 sometime before June.
I'm looking forward to the next Final Fantasy only because the main character is called Clive.
Nice. Yeah, well, obviously,
that's valid reason
too. Yeah, but yeah, I just wanted to shout that out. I gotta get a PlayStation 5 for that game. I've been a big Final Fantasy fan forever, so gotta get that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've got Elite Dangerous. I don't think it was a lot like No Man's Sky.
Yeah, I think to my understanding, I think No Man's Sky is arcade survival game, whereas Elite Dangerous is a space simulator.
Yeah,
spaceship simulator.
Yeah,
interesting.
More like Eve meets.
That's what I was thinking.
More like Eve with third person.
Eve Online
or first person.
Do you remember when Elite was around when we were a lad, Clive, on the old BBC Acorn and back in the day?
Is it Dave Braben?
Yes, I think it's on TV.
I can't remember who it was.
Dave Braben? That I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe.
I can't remember. It was huge, and it was like the game that almost, if you had the money, would make you buy a BBC because they weren't cheap. When I say BBC, guys, we're referring.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was David Braben.
Was it? Well done. Well remembered.
Jesus, somewhere from the back of my head.
Yeah. Literally, the BBC, as in the television network, they put their name to a computer, which was high quality, and the idea was that it would be rolled out to schools and
It was educational, wasn't it?
yeah. But
then-
there was
then
one
games
per
happened, so-
school. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
I learned on. I think my school had a BBC computer. That's how we learned.
Luxury.
I was in the bottom level of maths, and they would never let me
Showing
anywhere
off your
near a
poshness there,
computer.
Clive.
No, we had one. I just was never allowed near it. They
yeah.
considered me to be too stupid, so I never went near a computer.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Cowboy, how about you? What's been the highlight of this year, and what's you looking forward to for next year?
The highlight of this year was definitely God of War, Ragnarok. I was waiting to play this game from the moment I beat the last one, because the very end, what happens in the story, and I was like, I need to know. Right?
of the first one, what happens at the
Of
end
the 2018.
Yeah. I remember you
Cliffhanger.
saying,
So at the very end of 2018, like I was telling you, Rock,
Yeah.
I would have just rented it. But I was so afraid that if I waited, because I can't get my rental the same day, that what if somebody ruined the story for me? So
nice.
the good thing is the story was never ruined, because it took me, probably 2 weeks to beat the game, something like that, a week and a half. But either way, that was the highlight of gaming for me. I thought that was my game of the year. I felt like the controls was great. The graphics was great. The story was great. I felt they led on and end the story arc of a really great franchise. So that for me in gaming was really cool. Plus, I bought the Sony M Zone monitor. So which is like, so now you figure I got a PlayStation 5 and I have the Sony monitor that was made for the PlayStation 5 and high-end PCs. So this was able to put out whatever a PlayStation 5 could throw at it, it was able to handle. So I was
What I'm
watching
hearing is
it
you're getting a
and-
Sony Xperia phone next, right?
No,
He's
definitely
fully
not.
in
No,
his-
I have
fully
a friend
in.
of mine that's really into the Xperias, but I was never into them. But yeah, so I'm playing it at like 80 something frames per second if you get into all that nonsense, and it looked beautiful, but it was great. So for me, that was the highlight of gaming for me in 2022. And as far as the game I'm looking forward to in 2023. I don't know. I mean, I'm still dying to play, which is going to be funny when I say this, but I'm still dying to play Death Carnival. I've been waiting around for that game
it's a
for
good shout.
some years now.
Yeah.
It's not going to make 2022, but I'm looking forward to that. And I'm not crazy look forward to Forspoken. Like Rock and I, we talked about it a lot. The demo was a little lackluster, but so honestly, that's probably the only game I really, really want to play. But there's no game on the horizon that I'm like, I have to play. Now, I'm a huge Transformers fan, and if they say Transformers Reactivate is stated for 2023, then I'll get excited, but I don't even know if that game's making 2023.
Yeah. And as for myself, I would say my game of the year for 2022 has to be a game that actually left early access. So it's been out for technically 2 years, but they left early access this year. That's Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord. Definite highlight for me. Amazing game, and very like it is what you make of it in a lot of ways. It's like there is a story, but it's a kind of meh. But the gameplay is like it's one of those games you can sink 500 hours into and still enjoy it. And as for next year, it's honestly kind of a toss up at the moment between like I'm really interested to see what comes out of Avowed. Obsidian makes some amazing games. I'm kind of keen to see what they can do with the like gritty dark fantasy. That, and also since I really like card games, and I did get to try out an early release of an indie game that I then interviewed the guys who made it. The Metroplex Zero. It's a card game that really I was really positively surprised by. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the full game.
When's it coming out?
It was supposed to be coming out kind of now, but then they got an offer from a publisher to do Chinese localization and release.
Oh, very nice.
Be help,
Happy for them.
help them releasing. Yeah, they
That
will
is awesome.
help get some help releasing in China. So I think the current release date is May. I think adding some more localization to it, and then that also gives them time to finish up an extra mission, set of missions. So yeah, really looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, awesome. It's
Yeah.
going to be. I mean, do you guys generally think 2023 is going to be a good year for gaming? I mean, better than 22.
I think in terms of games, yeah.
In terms of, I think it's going to be better by default because there's going to be probably
by default,
more games. From Microsoft, they're going to bring in a bunch of games. Sony got games. So I think in terms of games, I do feel that as far as cloud gaming, because without Stadia, I don't feel there's a push anymore as far as being reinventing the wheel. I think cloud gaming is normal. We all know what it is now. More and more people are learning what it is. But Stadia was bringing you features, and they was trying to push the wheel, right? And now it's just kind of like, hey, you can play your game wherever you go. But it's like, well, we've seen that already. But no one's trying to do crowd play, crowd choice, So, I think next year is going to be better for games. But
I've just bought God of War. I've just bought God of War.
Oh, well done.
In the Epic Store sale
There you go.
with my Christmas coupon. So yeah,
Your 25% discount.
yeah.
How much?
yeah,
How much
so
was it?
so
How much did it cost?
17 quid.
Wow! Oh my
It's
god!
It's
For
a
that
it's
price.
a great game. It's a great game.
And I shall be playing it on Boosteroid.
There you go.
Oh, great!
And you'll be able to, and it'll lead you to want to play Ragnarok, which I think is next up on my rental list, actually, Ant. I just had a look at it. I sent back Elden Ring after an hour.
oh wow!
That was not for me. And I just had a look, and Ragnarok is actually 0 to 3 day wait. So that's the most
Nice.
likely to come next. So I'm looking forward to that. That's why my.
So maybe
next
me and
video.
Clive will be PlayStation 5 brothers there. We'll be buying a PlayStation 5 2023 because he'll be hooked and we'll have to buy to play Ragnarok,
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Brilliant stuff. Oh, great show.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. And we've made it through the end of 2022. 2023 is
Well,
just
got a
around
bit
the
more
corner.
to go. Yeah, a bit more to go.
a bit more to go,
Not far.
but,
yeah.
Yeah. So last show of the year for us, and I guess we'll see you all in next year.
Yeah, we and this system held up reasonably well, actually.
Yeah.
It works well.
Yeah.
Good.
Very
And,
good. Apart from
so, yeah.
Ant rebooting his phone.
Yeah, and
But,
some initial just getting getting things.
Thank you for your patience. I appreciate that.
Oh,
Anyways.
mate.
My wife is on standby because we actually supposed to be going to a party. I was like, just give me 10 minutes
Oh,
so I can
bless.
finish the show. But
Yeah.
but thank you guys for.
Are you're not streaming tonight then, Ant?
I have to, man. I said I'm gonna
Yeah?
stream Stadia for 30 days straight. Today would be day 11, so we're gonna go to the party, and
Yeah.
if we don't get home in time, I'm gonna be like, hey, I need a hat. I said I'll at least stream for 30 minutes a day.
You can stream
It's
from your
definitely been
phone,
longer.
mate.
So I will have to step away, sit in the car or something, and pull out my phone. So I will be
Yeah.
streaming today at some point, and Stadia allows you to
Take
do
a
that,
Tire
right?
Touch
So
game.
how cool
Take
is
a Tire
that?
Touch game and play something on your phone for 30 minutes and talk
Yeah.
about it. It'll
I
be
mean,
perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But guys, thank you so much for joining us. Happy New Year. See you in
New Year.
2023. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah.